Good evening and welcome to the special presentations of the City of Moreno Valley. Today is August 21st, and our first order of business is the recognition of the Independence Day and Fun Fest sponsors, and that will be presented by Mayor Gutierrez.
So we actually had three great sponsors that really helped us out with the Independence Day Let Freedom Ring celebration. We had Skechers, our presenting sponsor. Unfortunately, they're not able to be here, but let's give them a round of applause. If it wasn't for their support, we wouldn't have been able to hold it. We also have Waste Management, and they were a Liberty sponsor, and that is represented by Lily Quiroa. Is she here tonight? Oh, yes. All right, great. Come on up. So, great. So she's coming with her staff from Waste Management. And again, we just want to say thank you so much for your support every year, but also in particular this year for supporting us.
Thank you. It's our honor.
Thank you. I do want to mention that Saris Regis, a Patriot sponsor, is unfortunately also not here tonight, but let's give them a round of applause too. Okay. And then would you like to say a few words?
I just want to say that it's always an honor for Waste Management to partner with the city and have these amazing, great events. But I also want to point out, I do the easy job. I say, yes, we will do it, but I want to make sure that our staff is acknowledged. Barbara Jimenez does all the processing. And more importantly, I brought David Estrada with us today because he really does the heavy lifting. He's the one that delivers all the bins and the boxes and whatever else we need. So I want to make sure that he's acknowledged.
Let's give our sponsors another round of applause. Okay, the next order of business is the recognition of the Independence Day Parade Award winners. As I call your names, if you can please come up to the front and bring your trophies with you. And we're going to take a group photo, and if the council can join us in the photo. Our parade winners are, for sweepstakes, Moreno Valley Historical Society, Theme Trophy, Cub Scout Pack 210, and Boy Scout Troop 210. If you can please come up. We're going to take a group photo. Mayor and Council Trophy, Moval Riders, Chamber of Commerce Trophy, Exclusive Towing, Most Entertaining Trophy, Long Beach Cruisers. Outstanding Vehicle Entry, Marchville Air Museum.
We can have people go this way, more in this way.
Outstanding Craftsmanship Entry, Moreno Valley Animal Shelter. Outstanding Non-Commercial Entry, Patriot Guard Riders. Okay. Outstanding Musical Unit, Marching, Pacific Crest Band. Outstanding Musical Unit, Stationary, Moreno Valley United Methodist Church. They brought their cheerleaders. Outstanding musical unit, youth or core, the Wilsonettes. Outstanding marching drill unit, 17 years or younger, West Coast West Siders. Outstanding march drill unit, 18 years and older, Tammy D's Solid Gold Soul Line Dancers. Outstanding equestrian group entry, Trail Seekers of Moreno Valley. And finally, outstanding cultural entry, Arts Commission. Okay. You want to organize us?
I'm looking for this thing, the thing that is on display. Yeah, this is the display. The thing that controls this doesn't want to turn. Oh, your rotate lock? Yeah. Man is a genius. Thank you. From the Apple Store. Hey, whatever works.
That'd be kind of cool to have a business card that says you're a genius.
I know. The paralegal working for me.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for all your exceptional parade entries that made the celebration of our nation's independence so special. We look forward to seeing everyone next year. Thank you. Let's give them a few minutes to clear out. Next on the agenda is the recognition of essay contest winners. As part of the 2018 July 4th celebration, the City of Moreno Valley and the Moreno Valley Unified School District conducted the annual Moreno Valley Essay Contest for students to share their creative writing skills with a writing prompt. Why do we celebrate the 4th of July? The essays were evaluated on clarity of the idea, creativity, and the mechanics, grammar, spelling, and punctuation. Our Moreno Valley contest winners are, and if you're here, please come up. And Dr. Kitadora, can you come up, please? You can bring anyone you want with you. ¿Va a tomar fotos? Okay. And we're recognizing everyone that was involved in this very difficult task of selecting these essays among so many. There were so many good ones. So our first winner is Sydney Badillos, Bear Valley Elementary School, 2nd grade. Bruno Negrete, La Joya Elementary School, 4th grade. Janet Nguyen, Sunnymead Middle School, 7th grade. And Alejandra Cardona from Canyon Springs High School. I want to say congratulations to our winners, and if their parents are here, would like to come up for this photo opportunity, please join us. Everyone, come on up. Aunts, uncles, friends, neighbors, come on up. No, get in the picture. Yeah, come on. We'll take pictures. You could take pictures too, but let's get you. Come on. He's gonna take them. Yeah. Thank you very much for being here tonight, and that concludes the special presentations, and our city council meeting will begin about 6 p.m. Thank you.
Good evening, and welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, City Successor Agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this meeting to order on August 21st, 2018 at 6 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Frank Wright. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Pastor Kurt D. King, Moreno Valley and Imani Praise Fellowship SDA churches.
Everyone please face the flag and honor it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we bow our heads as we pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just want to thank you for another day where we can be here to discuss the business of the city of Moreno Valley. So, Lord, I ask that you bless these proceedings. Lord, I ask that you bless the council, the mayor, and all the city officials. Lord, I pray that as decisions are made, that it will be made in the best interest of everyone in this great city. So, Lord, I ask that you bless the city and its destiny as it moves forward. And Lord, I pray that you always give us the wisdom to know what is right and the courage to do what is right, even when it's hard. This is my prayer. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor King, for the invocation. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Gaiba,
I'm here.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca,
Here?
Mayor Gutierrez,
Here.
Let the record reflect Councilmember Marquez is absent.
Staff introductions, please.
Pat Haquez-Nares, City Clerk.
Marshall Ironman, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Martin Kazanowitz, City Attorney.
Tom DeSantis, City Manager.
Alan Brock, Assistant City Manager.
Mike Lee, Economic Development Director.
Rick Sanzamar, Community Development Director.
David Kurlowitz, Chief of Police.
Abdul Ahmed, Fire Chief.
Kathleen Sanchez, Human Resources Director.
Patty Solano, Parks and Community Services Director.
Michael Wolf, Director of Public Works, City Engineer.
Okay, before we get started, we're going to go ahead and go straight to consent calendar first, and then we'll do the non-agenda comments after. We are now going to move to our joint consent calendar, sections A through D on the agenda. Item A22 will be removed from the agenda per staff's request and heard at the September 4th, 2018 meeting. All items listed under the consent calendar, sections A, B, C, and D, are considered to be routine and non-controversial and may be enacted by one motion. The motion to adopt the consent calendars is deemed to be a separate motion by each agency and shall be so recorded by the city clerk. Items withdrawn for report or discussion will be heard after public hearing items. So if there's any items that you'd like to remove, we'll start with that one first, and then, okay. Councilmember Gaiba?
I have a few, so I'll just list them off for you, okay?
Is this for the removal?
Yes, and a separate vote.
Okay, that's the removal. Okay.
Or the F calendar, I guess. A6, A10, A12, A13, A16, A19, and I understand you just pulled 22 off until the next meeting, am I correct? So I don't need to pull that one.
Okay. So you want to pull 6 items?
Yep, because the
Okay.
seventh one.
Is the council okay with that, to pull 6 items for separate vote?
I have the right to do that, right?
Yep. Yep. All right. City council, any items for discussion? Okay, public comments on consent items, Madam Clerk?
So far, we have 2, Rafael Burgueras and Luis Palomares.
One second, Rafael.
They're in combination. There's some that were pulled. Rafael listed 8, 10, 12, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 23.
Okay, so we're gonna have comments on the A12, the A16, A19, A13, A10, and A6. So if you could just speak on the ones that we. Yes. Yes. So if you could just speak on the items that.
When I listed?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, that's simple. Okay. Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, and guests. I come in behalf of the committee, because I'm part of the committee in the Parks, Recs, and Trails. And the seniors are part of my goal to see this get approved. A20. They need help at the center. They need paint. They need other stuff there. So I'm hoping that A20 will get approved tonight. That's one on the consent calendar. The other one is the Spanish Heritage Festival that we had last year, that we fund that this year again. So people can come and enjoy the Spanish heritage. I hope that this year they'll play salsa and merengue, because I know that a lot of Latin people like that now. I like mariachi too, but I like to hear some salsa and merengue. That's another one. And there's others. Number 23, the Moreno Valley College. It needs funding also. So I'm hoping that gets approved. 823. That was pulled? Okay, I'm sorry. So I'll leave that at that. The one thing also, that I like about the consent calendar, that we didn't have to spend a lot of money this time. There's no approvals. Very little money was spent on the consent calendar for projects. So I'm thinking that everything already has caught up. So hopefully when we see things next time, there will be new bills, not old bills. So I'm glad to see that. So I'm glad that the staff is keeping things in order that, you know, even I can understand it. That's the important thing. And I'm grateful for Marshall and how he keeps his books in order so we can understand it. So again, the consent calendar is a nice one today. Very little money is being spent. And there's a lot of good things that we need to be approved on it later. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafael.
Louise is going to speak on item A19.
Okay, A19 was pulled for separate action. So Louise, if you just want to wait, we're going to have that one for separate action.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Oh, not on non-agenda.
Okay.
We'll get to that a little later. All right. Entertain a motion to approve excluding items A6, A10, A12, A13, A16, and A19.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, second by Councilmember Gaiba. Okay, please vote. Just do a voice vote, Pat.
Okay. Ready?
Okay, and it's approved, 4-0. All right. We do have a new commissioner, Mona Lisa Stallworth. If you could please come up to the podium. And you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mona Lisa Stallworth,
Do solemnly swear that I
do solemnly swear that I
will support and defend
will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties on which I am about to enter.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank
She's
you
our
for
new
your vote of
library
confidence.
commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reappointed. Okay, so we'll go straight with A6 is ratify the baseline agreement. Okay, we'll do a brief staff report. Very brief.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. This is, as stated, a request to ratify a baseline agreement with the California Transportation Commission and Caltrans, Department of California Transportation, for one of our projects, our capital projects, which is the Moreno Beach State Route 60 interchange project. This is phase 2 on the northern part of that. So this is an agreement to start the project off. We were awarded TCEP funds, which is Transportation Corridor Enhancement Program funds, in the amount of $16.8 million for this project. And that concludes my report.
Okay, any council questions? Yes. Okay, press your button, please.
Way out there.
Okay, Councilmember Gaiba.
Hi, Michael.
Yes.
Need to get a couple things clarified here, just so we have. I just ended up having a SCAG meeting this morning, and so this same problem kind of came up. Has that $16 million actually physically been given to the city to use, or it's just been awarded or allocated?
So the $16.8 million is programmed for fiscal year 1920, so it's not been given to the city.
So what happens if SB 1's overturned in the election in November to that money?
That's unknown for me right now. There's the action item that's forward is just the agreement in place.
In place. So actually, that question did come up. That's why it caught me on there. So if you don't mind, if that gets overturned, that money goes back into the pot, and then it's reallocated and it could take more years to have that get done. So that's the reality of it. You can check with SCAG on their Legislative Action Committee. I was just there this morning. But that's the reason I wanted this pulled forward, so that I could clarify that. That might not happen if SB 1 gets overturned. Okay? That's all. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay. Any public comments, Madam Clerk, on the A6?
Roy Bleckert.
Okay. And we'll do 2 minutes on these, since there were so many that were pulled.
Quickly, good thing you're getting, and I hope the Moreno Beach gets done real quickly. But in context with that, and I read a lot of stuff, but it keeps asking, well, why Redlands Redlands Bridge doesn't get improved? And specifically, and back when the Ridge, or when the Ridge project was first proposed in 2011, Pete walked up to the dais right here and asked for the developer to put additional fees in as if he was building one building. Dennis Rice agreed to that. Whether that was hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions, we have never got an accounting if that money was set aside, was collected once Aldi was done, and those funds were applied to the Redland Street Bridge. I think the public deserves an answer to that, where and if the fees were collected and if they were applied to the Redland Street Bridge. Anybody can go back and watch the videotapes if they don't believe it happened when the hearings were in 2011. And I've asked the question. Pete has many times come up here and asked for accounting on that, and we have never received it. So I would like to see, in addition to that, Redland Street Bridge get done, Theodore, and every other project that we need to do. But we need to be diligent, and when we have these funds set aside or promised by developers, in all cases, they need to be collected. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. All right. Any other speakers for this one, Madam Clerk?
That's the only one.
All right. Thank you. We'll go to council deliberation. Okay. Seeing that there's none, entertain a motion by council to approve A6. Okay. Motion by Councilmember Gaiba, second by Councilmember Cabrera. Okay. Please vote. Okay, and that's approved unanimously. We'll move on to A10. Would be in the F section. We will have a brief report by staff.
Right.
First.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Item A10 is the First Amendment to the Affordable Housing Agreement between the city and RB Boulder Ridge Limited Partnership. This was for a project that we were referring to as Boulder Ridge. It was approved by the City Council in 2016. The developer has been trying to pursue additional financing for the project, has been unsuccessful. This amends the agreement and essentially terminates the agreement. Then we would move forward or look at other options with this developer, something that's a little bit more financially feasible for them and the city, hopefully to get more development units and in a quicker timeline. And with that, that concludes my report.
Okay. Councilmember Gaiba, council questions of staff?
Yeah, the Boulder Ridge project, when it was approved, the other project that was supposedly on the table was the Day Street Alessandro project, but that one didn't fit A couple of questions. One, why does it fit now? When it didn't fit then, my understanding, better back up, my understanding is that we're doing a swap here. Instead of him doing the project at the Alessandro LaSalle location, he's going to pick up the Day Street location, which, if I remember those arguments, that wasn't considered the best location for this project or any project like it.
In working with the developer, given the different financing sources and what's available for different properties within the city, it does allow for additional financing through cap and trade and other items. The site has a larger footprint, which allows for more or additional units. Item C4 on the agenda tonight allows us to move forward with discussions with them, but does not commit the city to actually developing a project. So we will look at that option and bring back details to council.
Any further questions? Okay. All right. Madam Clerk, public comments on this one, A10?
Rafael Burgueras and Roy Bleckert.
Okay.
Good evening once again, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, and our guests. I looked at this and I went to the packet to understand what this item was. And what it was that the developer couldn't get his credits to finish developing the one on
LaSalle and Alessandro.
right, LaSalle, right. I remember that because I was at the commissioners fighting for that project to be approved, because he had a plan to try to get the money through rebates and credits to get it funded. That's why it was approved. So what we're asking you tonight is to keep it going, to approve it, not to squash it. So he couldn't get the one on LaSalle, but he got the one on Day Street. That's a plus. If he can get the other one and still wait for that one to come. See, it takes money, Moreno Valley residents. It takes money. It takes investors to come to our city to put money down, or bright men and women to figure out how they can get money from the government to give us affordable housing in the city of Moreno Valley. So this developer had a plan, but he fell short of funding. The plan is still there, but it needs money. But I'm glad that he's handling at Day Street. So I hope tonight that we can approve this and not scratch anything, because Moreno Valley needs affordable housing.
Thank you, Rafael. Next speaker is Roy Bleckert.
I will agree. Not only Moreno Valley, but the whole United States, and especially California, needs affordable housing. One proven way not to get it is depend on your government to deliver it for you. Because most, as you can see with these projects, they add more cost or never get done because of the extreme rules and regulations and constraints we put on there. If you would let the free market work, we would have affordable housing like we used to have in Moreno Valley, in the state of California, in the United States of America. This is the whole problem of that. If you're dependent on somebody else, or you think there's a free lunch somewhere, there is not. There never will be, and there never has been. This is the convoluted trap that we are all sitting in, and you're seeing the results of that. I mean, we've got $3 million or $2.85 million of funds that I believe were earmarked for the city that are tied up in the Boulder Ridge project that are just going to sit there and not be used for something else. Again, this is what your government delivers. If you're going to depend on that, you're going to expect higher housing costs, less affordability, because somebody somewhere pays for that. Those tax credits get paid by somebody. They have to be made up someplace. They don't just fall out of the wind. Again, if you would drop the rules and regulations, if you would make it where developers could develop, then you would truly deliver affordable housing that the vast majority of people could afford at a price, and when they used to be able to do it, proven time and again. You depend on the government, you lose. You depend on yourself, you win.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Thank you, Roy. Sorry. All right, council deliberation. All right, any comments here? Okay, seeing there's none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved?
Okay, moved by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, second by Councilmember Cabrera. Please vote. Okay, and it's 3 yeses and 1 no. Okay, we'll move to item A12. That is staff report, brief staff report.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, the item this evening is the second reading of an ordinance that was previously presented to the City Council on June 19th and approved at that time. This ordinance essentially modifies the business license process that allows an additional 30 days where individuals do not have to essentially pay a second business license fee. So anybody who comes in the door before October 1st doesn't have to pay an additional license fee, the $61, when they come back at December 1st when we're doing our renewals. So that concludes.
Councilmember Gaiba? Yep. Well, you're the one that called for it.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
Marshall, how long have we kept our current ordinance in place in this city for the 2-month period instead of the 3-month? That been?
Apologize, I don't have the prior adoption ordinance language on that in front of me. That's something we can
Probably
look
been
up.
with us for a very, very long time. What precipitated us wanting to change that now? I read the report, but I want to hear from you.
If I may, one of the things we've looked at is customer service items. We've been working with businesses to see what feedback we get through the business license process to improve it for them. And this was one of the areas that caused a lot of confusion is they'd walk in the door, October 1st, they'd pay their $65, and then 2 months later, they're getting a renewal notice and not understanding why they have to do the paperwork again within 60 days. So as a customer service standpoint and to really improve the process for these businesses, we're looking at extending it 30 days to simplify this for them.
And Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, if I might add, the other impetus of this, Councilman Cabrera had been interacting with some business owners and had some very legitimate questions about it. And so in discussing it with him and getting the feedback, I asked Marshall to put this on the agenda for the council's consideration. I appreciate Councilmember Cabrera bringing it to me.
Question I had, you answered me. Thank you.
All right. And I just wanted to thank Councilmember Cabrera for coming up with this. I think it's a great idea to really help the business community be more business friendly. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you. And really, talking about cutting red tape and regulations, this is a part of that for the small businesses that are here in our city. And it's something that some residents came to me, exactly what Marshall said. They were confused, after getting their first business license. 2 months later, they're paying the fee again. So this was just to help our local business owners.
Madam Clerk, any public comments?
Yes, Rafael Burgueras and Roy Bleckert.
Good evening, Mayor, council member, staff, residents, and guests. I thought it would be an easy night with the consent calendar. It was very simple. It was easy. This is an easy item. This item was talked about on June 19 to help the small business in our community so they don't have to get trapped up in what Marshall just mentioned. And I'm not even sure if you voted on it or not. I got to go look at it if you say yes or not, and you pulled it. It's amazing, Gaiba. You should have known better not to do that on this. This is to help the community, to help the small business people. That's all it was. It was a simple yes with the consent calendar, and you pulled it. I can't believe it. That's all it is, Moreno Valley residents, is to help our small business people that come here, the new businesses, to make it easy for them to understand how to pay their fees. That's all it was, and that's all it is. A simple yes could have been the answer.
Okay, next speaker is Roy Bleckard.
There would be no confusion if there was no business license tax. I'm going to take you back to June of 1996. I bet you Miss Baca will remember this very well. There was a ballot proposal on the table that the council had put on in 1991. They had put on a utility tax and they put on a business license tax. It's before the citizens got to vote on that. Citizens all across this area put it on the ballot, and you know what? People talk about money in politics, but I bet you Miss Baca will back this up. $300 beat $30,000 June of 1996, and we repealed the utility tax and we repealed the business license tax. If you want to be business friendly, if you want to be citizen friendly, where is the tax relief for the citizens and the businesses and to encourage them to come into this city? Because in 1998, I bet you will remember that it was in the press enterprise long after the utility tax got put on, after they scared the people in 1996 with the Cops and Kids program, that the utility tax was not needed. And it was promised for public safety, and you hear time and time again the cries of, we need more money for public safety. Never solved it. Put a budget in front of this council in 2015 that eliminated the utility tax and improved public safety, and it was rejected. The solutions are there. Do we have the will to implement them?
Okay, thank you. Any council deliberation? Okay, Councilor Gaiba.
A lot of times I put these up here because I've actually had residents ask me to pull them. So I just wanted you guys to know that. I always don't always pulling them. But that does bring up the question that Roy is saying. We could probably make this even more business friendly if we didn't have that. That's one thing. But number two, I'm confused as to why when people come in to get their business licenses, they're not notified that this could happen to them in 2 months from now. Well, why didn't business friendly just tell them on the counter, oh, by the way, it's, you're getting this in October, it's gonna, you're gonna be billed again in December. And that should have been happening as well, and it wasn't. So it's nice that we're coming back and looking at this, but all these years before, I have never heard any complaints, and I worked with a lot of small businesses. So that's my comments.
Okay. Entertain a motion by council.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, second by Councilmember Cabrera. Okay. All right, please vote. Okay, and it's approved. 3 yes and 1 no. Okay, we will move to item 813, staff report.
Oh, I apologize, that's mine. So this is an action item for the approval of a parcel map. This is for the St. Christopher Catholic Church. They've processed a parcel map through the Planning Commission back in 2015, and this was a request, or they finished up the approval process and all the bonds associated with the parcel map. And so now we're just making that finalized. They have a tentative parcel map, so this is the final parcel map that allows that project to continue to move forward. That concludes my presentation.
All right. Any council questions on this one? All right. Public comments?
Roy Bleckard.
Okay.
Surprise. That was a project that was brought to the Planning Commission in 2013, and an issue there that we could have fixed a long time ago. It took 2 years to run through the appeal. The land zoning in that area is vastly needs to be fixed. And really, at this point, only the city of Moreno Valley has the authority to overlay that whole area and fix it. You had a developer, a property owner, Bud, that's got 10 acres right across catty corner from the church, that has told you that it may cost 200 units of senior housing in the area just because things were not dealt with. They're still not being dealt with today. I want to give Michael Lloyd, engineer for the city of Moreno Valley, he answered some of my questions that I had on this today. But, to take the 3-year process of doing this and it not being done and things not being fixed, and even the donut shop, if that area had been addressed as been requested, the donut shop would have probably already been done because you could have fixed the zoning, because as my understanding, that was even in the project planning back in 2014-15. So I just want to remind the council at times, keep on the ball, keep these things moving forward, and the sooner you fix problems, the better off everybody's going to be, and everybody can all move forward, and we all can build a bigger and brighter and better city if we all do our jobs and work together.
Thanks, Roy. Entertain deliberation. Any deliberation? Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
I want to make a quick comment. Roy, thank you for speaking, and we did meet about this. We've talked about it and briefly discussed possibly looking at the general plan update whenever that comes and including in this. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, second by Councilmember Cabrera. Okay, please vote. And it's approved, 4-0. We'll move to item A16. That one.
Good evening again, Mayor. This one I'm ready for, so.
All right, okay.
This is a request to receive a grant. So prior, the council was given staff the authority to submit a grant application for the Dracia Avenue Neighborhood Greenway Corridor Study. So the action item for tonight, the request is to receive that grant, and then everything associated with that, approve the agreement and approve the budget. So this is receiving about $150,000 from Caltrans for their Sustainable Communities Planning Grant for us to study Dracia Corridor, which is one of our heavily traveled streets, taking a look at opportunities to reduce the cut-through traffic or multimodal opportunities, also to take a look at ways to reduce the speeding, enhance the pedestrian safety. So this is an opportunity for us to take a look at one of our heavily traveled collector corridors, to take a look at what some of the opportunities we have to make some changes. That concludes my presentation. Available to answer any questions.
Okay, any council questions? Okay, Councilmember Gaiba.
Michael, was any other corridor looked at and compared to? And if so, why was this one chosen over any other corridor? I've lived here 36 years. I've watched these things get congested and bad. So we have a lot of them in the city that could have probably used a planning grant of this type. So I'm just curious as to why this one was chosen and what other ones there were.
So there was quite a bit of research done for this one. What we typically do is we take a look at the grant application itself and where the highest scores will land, and we try to pick a corridor that would increase our opportunity to get those. And so this is the longest corridor that we have in terms of length, also has the most in terms of pedestrian crashes, bicycle collisions, those kinds of things. So we did look at quite a few other corridors. If we need specifics, I can have our transportation or traffic engineer speak to that. But this was one that we felt was going to gain us the most points to have us the opportunity to get this award. So it was done through taking a look at the application process and then applying all those criteria and finding the right corridor for that. So again, longest corridor. It also serves multiple schools, multiple parks, multiple shopping centers. So this is an area that has a lot of draw from a pedestrian standpoint and multimodal. So that'll be bus traffic, things like that. So again, we try to look at what's going to score the highest.
All right, Madam Clerk, any public comment?
Roy
comments?
Bleckert.
Okay. And just so to give a friendly reminder to the council, normally we do ask that you ask your questions, to the staff before. At the next meeting, I allowed it this meeting, but at the next meeting, I will call for a vote to have. If it's more than 3 items that we're pulling, I'm going to call for a vote to have all of those items consolidated. Thanks, Roy. Go ahead.
Yes, and it was specifically mentioned about bicycle crashes. And I have on my Facebook page, Inland Empire Newswire, a couple of videos, one specifically of Dracia, and showing the challenges of why we have bicycle crashes. And that is a very, you have some older and new and older areas around Dracia. A lot of challenges because you don't have as much right-of-way to do that. But as far as making the corridor, and I live or have a business on a corridor on Cottonwood right in there, and I ride my bike in between there, and that was the subject of that I brought to the attention of Eric Lewis, the city traffic engineer, of the narrow spots and the way we do these bike lanes. The way we do these bike lanes, I believe, for the vast majority of bike riders does not work because you're sitting in your bike sandwiched between cars parked on the street and traffic going by you at 35 miles an hour. And most of us bike riders are not riding with the flow of traffic. We're riding at 5 to 10 miles an hour. It's a very unsafe situation. And I believe that discourages a lot of bike riding in the area because we're trying to cram too much in a small area. We should be looking at 99.999% of our traffic flow is cars and trucks. That's what we should be concentrating on. That's what we should be moving. We should be moving cars and trucks efficiently through Moreno Valley. There are ways we can make the bike trails and that work better, and by policies, I believe, as we used to do, would make it work. So as we're studying this, maybe we should look overall at a comprehensive plan that fixes all these issues, not just piecemealing it one spot at a time.
Thank you, Roy. All right, any council deliberation on this item, A16? Okay. Seeing none, go ahead and entertain a motion to approve. Moved by Councilmember Cabrera, second by Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Okay, please vote. Okay, and that's approved, A16. We're going to go to A19, and this one is the skate park. We'll go ahead and have a brief report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. The item before you this evening requests appropriation of parkland diff funds in the amount of $600,000 for construction of a second skate park in the city located at Community Park. As you know, earlier this year, a group of young skaters from around the city came together and formed a grassroots effort, collecting petitions from fellow skaters, residents, and parents in support of a skate park in our community. As a result of focus groups and community input meetings, the design you see on the screen has been developed. That is our current conceptual design for the skate park at Community Park. The skate park's now in its construction drawing phase. It's going to be approximately 4,782 square feet, and it'll have street skating elements such as stairs, rails, and ramps, and it's also going to be built to accommodate skaters of all ages and skill sets. Construction is set to begin in early 2019, and that concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Okay. Council questions? Okay. Councilmember Gaiba?
I'm not familiar with any of the outreach and stuff that you had. I wasn't notified of any of those, so that's a separate issue in itself. But at what point in time did this council, during a regular meeting, give guidance to the staff to actually expend time and energy on a skate park of this magnitude? And second question, why didn't we put a little bit more effort into making the already skate park accessible by RTA transportation? And the third one was, why was this location chosen when we have 51 square miles in this city? And that's fairly close to the other skate park.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, I'll address those questions. This has been, there has been no council approval of a project. That's what's on tonight's agenda. There has been discussion of this topic at council meetings. We've had young people come in with petitions. The mayor has mentioned it several times. There was a public meeting, publicly advertised over there at, I believe it took place, was it at Cottonwood? At Cottonwood Center. Publicly noticed, and lots of people from the community came out, shared their ideas, reacted to some concepts, and that's why we're delighted to bring this to you this evening. As far as why this location, that was also discussed in a meeting, public meeting with members of the community, and they felt that this location would be ideal. It's near a high school. It's a part of town that's highly populated. And we had the space right there, so they really like this. I think there was a third question, but I don't recall what it was. Sure.
Why didn't we do an alternative to the skate park by making the other skate park more accessible? The students use that all the time.
Yeah.
We could have done a deal with the RTA so they could put the transportation over there. It'd be a lot less expensive to do something like that than to expend monies for a skate park that's already fairly close to that one. And the other issue is we can talk about things all we want, but my ordinance here says that unless at a public meeting, duly agendize a public meeting, votes to give direction to the staff, city manager in particular, you don't have the right to just go running around working on all this without having that direction given to you. I don't remember any of that direction ever being given to you.
Okay, I'll address both of those very quickly.
And I'd like to see the agenda.
As far as the location at March, that park is not nearly as robust a design as what you're seeing before you here. It's an older facility. It's got significant limitations to it. It wasn't really a question of access to develop the kind of park that these skaters said they want. We would have had to demolish that one and start over. In this case, we're going to wind up, if the council approves it, with the best of both worlds. We'll still have that feature there, and we'll have a nice modern feature in this part of town, actually expanding options for skaters in our city. As far as my authority as city manager, I have the authority by this council to put items on the agenda, and that's why this item is on there, proposed for the council's consideration.
And I also put the item on the agenda too. So. All right. Any public comments, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Rafael Burgueras, Luis Palomares, Roy Bleckert, Jason Hunter, and Rochelle Sterling.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, and guests. Tell you why this locations were picked. Because I went to that meeting, just like all the skateboarders and the parents that were there. This location was picked because it has the soccer field there. So while the parents have extra kids that are not playing soccer, they will be at the skateboard park for free. Second, it has bathrooms. We didn't have to buy land or develop new bathrooms where we already have bathrooms there. So we saved millions of dollars with plumbing in the facility. So if you would have came to the meeting, you would have heard about it. Okay? Because it was publicized. Okay?
Yeah.
You should have been there. The other thing is, it has parking. It has lights. We save money. That's why. And the other thing that the manager said, the city manager, it's a brand new park with brand new ideas from the youth. They're the ones that came to the council with the petitions to ask for something for themselves. We should be grateful to give it to them. And the most important thing here is right here. Here we go. there is no impact to the general fund. Where does the money come from? From the Parkland Development Impact Fees. That's where the money's coming from. It's not hurting the taxpayers at all. All these parents that go to the soccer field are going to love it. They're going to love it. All ages are going to love it. Why? Because their sons and daughters are going to be at the park skating, and we should be having fun with them. That's why next time, Mr. Geiber, go to the meeting.
Next speaker is Roy Bleckert. Is it Roy? Madam Clerk?
Luis Palomares.
Oh, Luis Palomares. Can you call the three speakers again?
Luis Palomares, Roy Bleckert, Jason Hunter, and the last one, Rochelle Sterling.
Okay, just three. Okay, so then, okay, Roy, go ahead.
This is interesting that this come out, and again, take you back to 2009. Remember there was a proposal just after Jesse Molina got elected to put a park at Cottonwood and Indian? Maybe that would have been a nice location for that park that eventually the money got moved over to the Nason Street Bridge along with the library and the fire station. But it was always promised, and there is a proposal, and there is memorandums as far as, I believe, 2013 from then Community Director John Terrell outlining how, as they were moving the money from the park at Cottonwood and Indian over to the bridge, that eventually we would find funds, or when we got funds in the DIF fees, that we would build Cottonwood and Indian Park. That would have been a nice deal. Yeah, I believe, just like the city manager talked about, maybe having two facilities. Maybe we could have had even more soccer fields and the skate park still just down the road and still be in District 1. Sometimes we should look, not drive, and drive past the hood ornament and see how we could utilize all the available funds we have to its best and highest use. Because there's another project that's coming up, and I believe there's probably enough money in the DIF fees that you could have built that park there that was promised many, many, many years ago, and still done that, and we would have had more facilities today. So it's not about not wanting something or being negative or that. It's about making the best use of what we have. And when we have the community discussions, and we discuss this at subcommittee meetings and study sessions and on, that's the process we should be used to get the best out of everything.
Thank you. We have Luis Palomares, Jason Hunter, and Rochelle Sterling, if you can please be ready. Is Luis Palomares here? Okay. Jason Hunter?
Hi there, Jason Hunter. So what kind of drew my attention to this agenda item was I was driving down the street and I saw a sign that said coming mid-2019, a skate park, like it was a done deal. So I start thinking to myself, well, how can this be a done deal so that you would actually produce a sign for it if it's on the agenda and it's never been voted on by the city council? And now I see that conceptual plans have been drawn up by landscape architects, which must have cost money. And I think to myself, what gave the city manager the authority? Where was the appropriations process to spend this money? You don't have the right to spend money on anything you want to under the sun, regardless of whether you have a signature authority. That money has to be appropriated via the budget process. So either we have misappropriation of public funds here going on behind the scenes, a city manager kind of Wild Westing it here, or we've had direction given to him by the city council via some sort of serial or secret meetings that told him he would be backed up by 3 people on this council to go forward with this project. So which one is it? Because there's no other explanation I can think of. Either the council is violating the Brown Act and giving direction to the city manager behind closed doors and in secret, and that's not the way you can do government by law here in the state of California, or our city manager here is misappropriating public funds. I'd like that question answered.
Yeah. Next speaker is Rochelle. Rochelle Sterling.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hunter. Actually, I got a picture of that sign 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, coming mid 2019. This is per se evidence that you have violations going on in this city, which is not surprising to me at all. My phone rings off the hook from people telling me, why don't you go to the Moreno Valley City Council meetings, because they're the most corrupt city in the entire Inland Empire. That's what I'm being told. That's why I'm here today, because we have a wonderful city manager at Riverside now, and so I don't have to worry about Riverside. But you've got the worst one in the whole state of California. And I welcome everybody to visit 30milesofcorruption.com if you want to know the history of Mr. DeSantis.
Okay, we're
And
not going to
these-
do any ad hominem here.
I can say whatever I want.
Then do ad hominem.
I'm a city attorney,
Okay,
a
we're going
former
to take a
city
recess.
attorney.
We're going to take a
Okay.
recess.
Okay. We're going to file a lawsuit.
Thank you and welcome back. Rochelle?
I think that was completely inappropriate, and I would like to refer you to a seminal case that involves Miss Baca, actually. It was an amazing case that came down from the Court of Appeals. Baca versus the Moreno Valley School District. Mr. Gutierrez, I suggest you read that very closely before you try something like that.
Well, we
again.
are letting you speak.
You are now, but you interrupted me and you stopped me. And you haven't done that to anybody else. So it's content-based, okay? So we're beyond that, though. This project is either the result of a serial meeting, which violates the Brown Act, or it is a result of usurpation of the council's authority. If any funds have been expended and were appropriated without a vote of this council, which I will be making public records requests for, which I'm sure Mr. DeSantis will try and prevent me, but that won't happen. This will be referred to the district attorney's office. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rochelle. Okay, next speaker is Luis Palomares.
Hold on, give me a minute. I gotta get my breath. Luis Palomares, community activist. Wow, Jiving Gava, you're going for it again, huh? You got all your mouthpieces here today. And those are the facts and those are the truth. Because there were several meetings they had here. Where were you, Gaiva? They put a lot of information out. Where were you, Gaiva? Where were you? I want to know. If it's not Gaiva's way, it's the wrong way. And no, vote on no on this, vote no on that. If the council's doing something positive and for all the right reasons, you know, you're always against it. What's wrong with you, Gaiva? You were over there getting glory at Canyon Springs High School when you had nothing to do with that. You voted totally against it. For our kids, the first graduation class after 32 years. But do you like kids or what? I'm wondering. These kids went and collected thousands of signatures, and that's why it's going to be there. And that junk, I don't know who the brainchild over there, oh, we could fix it. You go over there and you inhale that fumes from the planes up there, your ears. You go over there. You know, it's a mile from any bus stop. It's a mile from everything. It's dark. They don't even open on Saturdays early. You would think on Saturdays they open early. No, they don't open till 5 o'clock. Give me a break. These kids want the up-to-date stuff. They don't want this joke that's over there. You want to go, you skate there. You know, maybe you were asleep on the switch. Maybe you didn't care what these kids were saying. Because it seems like you don't care about kids. When you vote against a Canyon Springs 32 years waiting to come, that tells me a lot about you, Gaiva. You and your mouthpieces here talking all their jive. And we're going to call you, instead of saying coffee with Jeff, we're going to call you Jiving Jiva because that's who you are. You're a liar, and that's a fact.
Let's keep it civil.
But it was okay. It was okay when you wanted to do your storm drain thing and cost the city over $200,000, but they didn't pay the bill because you didn't send out
Thank you,
a
Luis.
bulletin or anything for that.
Okay, next speaker. Okay, thank you. All right, we're gonna go to general business, which is G1. Oh, yeah, well, we gotta vote for this, yeah, first. So, yeah, deliberation on this one. And I'll go ahead and speak as well on this one. You know, the kids actually came out, you know, with their petitions, over 1,000 signatures, several schools, you know, of kids that came out, and you know, it was actually a very positive thing. I think that's why, you know, it's really, really routine and non-controversial. And I did ask, you know, the city manager, you know, to place this on the agenda. I know that the city manager also has the authority as well. And, you know, I can place anything on the agenda as well. We do have our capital improvement project funds, where we did talk about, you know, a skate park there. And then it's also in our strategic plan, where we did talk about, you know, having more quality of life and a skate park for our kids. So I think that it should be non-controversial, and I think people are trying to make it controversial because of an election, and so I'll just leave it at that. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
Yeah, so like has been said, this item shouldn't have so much negativity to it. We're trying to do something for our children. We're trying to do something for the kids here in our city. And also, I want to add that in addition to the public meetings that were done, last year in November, I was actually able to set up a high school tour. I went to all the high schools with the Emerging Leaders Council. And we went to all the high schools in Moreno Valley Unified, so Movell High, Canyon Springs, Valley View, Vista del Lago, and we went to Rancho Verde, which is VVHS. And we did surveys. We asked the kids 2 questions. We said, what would you change about Moreno Valley, and what do you love about Moreno Valley? We brought all those answers back because these kids wrote so much information on those papers. And the #1 response for what would you change or what do you want was a skate park. That was the #1 response that we got directly from the students at the high schools in Moreno Valley. And so I just want to repeat, we're doing something for the kids here in our city. This should not be, all this shouldn't be going on. This is completely unnecessary.
And just to add, those were public meetings that we brought that information back to. Okay, Councilmember Gaiba?
Thank you. Nothing wrong with a skate park. That isn't what I said, and I guess you weren't listening. What the problem was is the procedure that took place. You are asking us to approve monies on a project that has already moved forward without this council ever directing them to move forward on it. That's the way it works. Our municipal code, section 2.08.070, specifically says that, and it's a law. And what you're doing is you are just circumventing the law of the state. We all took these oaths. And you're circumventing it. Had you done this the appropriate way, finance subcommittees, the way we always do those things, so that they have the input from everybody, I'm quite sure you would have come up with a reasonable proposal that would make the entire city and all the kids happy. This was a particular proposal by a particular bunch of people usurping the responsibilities of this city council, and by the way, excluding some of the city council members from being involved in that decision making. And I think some of the staff understand what I'm trying to say. So, no, this was not proper. And if you want to bring it back and do it the right way, I'm perfectly happy to do that. It's good for the kids. It's good for the community. I like that. But let's do it legally, correctly, and don't put our city at risk.
I'd like our city attorney to address a couple of those concerns you raised. And can you tell us, how can items be placed?
Well,
and then
thank
also
you,
address some of those comments?
Honorable Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and council members. First of all, the item is here for your approval and deliberation, so nobody's been excluded from the decision-making process, which I believe what the council member said, the decision-making process is occurring right now. This a skate park concept and project was funded in the CIP. So the council already took action on money being spent on a skate park project quite a while ago. Obviously, you, city manager, have the ability and the authority to place items on the item. If every item that comes before you had to come before you first for an approval to come before you, the city would stall. So certainly you have staff that is proactive, you have staff that is working hard to meet the needs of the community in a legal and lawful manner, and that is what is occurring here. The project is being proposed to you, and maybe the sign on the corner is a little optimistic before you take action on the project, but certainly you have the every right, as you sit here today, to say, no, we don't like the project, or no, it's in a different place, or let's delay it, let's discuss it further. All the options are available for you. We brought you this item in a design form. We have the funds, certainly have the authority to spend them. No laws have been broken, no Brown Act violations, no usurping of public funds. None of that occurred here. It's an item that's been discussed, it's been talked about. Councilmember Cabrera brought it here. There was children speaking from the dais, from the podium rather, with the petitions. And public meetings, number of public meetings took place about this project. So I don't understand where the energy is coming from. Well, I do understand where it's coming from, but there is no violations of law, there is no usurpation of funds. You have the project before you to deliberate, make a decision, and to direct us accordingly. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Attorney. I know that I've been working on this project for about 2 years, not directly, but assisting the kids and directing them to petition the City Council, not me, but as a group. And we don't have any say as an individual. We have to be up here to make decisions. That's just the way it is. I cannot direct the city manager to do anything. I cannot tell him, go build a skate park. I cannot tell him, do this or do that. I can't do that as one person. We do that from the dais as a city council, not as a council member, but as a council. And that's the way things are done here in Moreno Valley since I've been here. If it was done differently, I can't speak to that. As far as doing it the right way, this is the right way. We're before you. We're before the audience, before the public watching us on TV, and the city clerk is taking notes, and we all have our opportunity to question, to deliberate, and then to vote. And we all have one vote. All we have is one vote, and we need 3 to get this going forward. Now, as far as Brown Act violations and serial meetings, it's like I said, or someone else said, it's campaign season. Previous council members have called it silly season. So you're going to get people coming out and making false accusations. Ms. Sterling was invited by Councilmember Gaiba to be here to disrupt our meeting. And, I do believe in First Amendment, and you can say what you want from the podium. I believe that that happened to me. I was thrown out of a meeting. I came back and made a difference nationwide. And yes, that is Baca versus Moreno Valley Unified, and I will protect your right to speak. I will. But what you're saying is not true. There's no serial meetings. At least I haven't been involved in one. I have not met with one single council person to discuss the skate park. I've been talking to our city manager, and that's what it is. And if that sign is up, it can always be taken down if we vote no, if we disapprove that. But what are we going to tell our children? We voted no because what? So I know that the money's there and we can do this. So let's do this for our kids, for our community, and come together and support them. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and close the deliberation. Entertain a motion by council to approve item A19 for the skate
So
park.
moved.
Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, and then this was seconded by Councilmember Cabrera. Okay. Okay, and it's approved 3 yes and 1 no. All right. We'll go straight to G1. Approval of an appropriation of 1.1 million to the citywide pavement rehabilitation program. Basically a change order. We'll go to Report of Public Works, Michael Wolf.
Good evening again, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. One of my favorite subjects, pavement management. As the mayor indicated, this is a request for additional funding. Back in June 19th of this year, council awarded a project to All American Asphalt for pavement management, included residential streets and some arterial streets. At that time, during that award, council asked staff to come back with the opportunity to take a look at additional pavement areas to address. So we did work off of the city council approved fiscal year 18-19 list of arterial streets. Again, the direction from council was to take a look at appropriation of up to 1.1 million. So based on the approved list of FY 18-19 street segments, which is adopted by council associated with the pavement condition index and the average daily traffic, the top 2 segments from that list are John F. Kennedy Drive from Heacock to Indian and Iris Avenue from Paris to Kitchen. And as we discussed before, pavement degrades exponentially, so this is a good opportunity for us to add to our current contract and get this work done where the prices are less expensive. As the pavement degrades, the prices increase. So with that, staff's recommending the appropriation of the 1.1 million of general reserve funds into the pavement CIP project. We also are recommending the approval of the amended budget as presented in the staff report. And then the change orders are one to All American Asphalt, which is the contractor, and the other one is to Nino & Moore, which is our material testing and inspection company. That concludes my report.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, if I might add, we want to thank you. This is coming at your direction at the last meeting when we brought the previous project before you. You said, great job, we need more. And you directed us to come back with an item tonight. So we'd like to thank you for your leadership in bringing more resources to improve the streets in our community.
Thank you. All right, any council questions of staff? Okay, Councilmember Gaiba.
Thank you. Michael, last time we had this conversation, I noticed that almost all of the pavement improvement projects were in majorly 2 districts. And now you come back an additional one, and you have 2 more pieces in another one of the either District 1 or District 4. Now, District 3 and District 2 have lots of needs up there. Why was that not considered, any of those areas, for any additional appropriation? Now, I remember the conversation, and I remember who said what they said, but why wasn't the entire city looked at and distributed this money equitably throughout the entire city?
So when we took the fiscal year 18-19 list, it has, I want to say, 12 locations all throughout the city. The direction from council at the June 19th meeting was to utilize that list that was approved by council. So that's why the 2 segments presented tonight are tonight. To answer the question about, there are lots of places in the city that need asphalt repair. Just overwhelming area that needs repair. We try to prioritize those areas based on pavement condition index, which is how we identify the pavement. The lower the number, the worse. And we also try to identify it by the highest volume of traffic. Those are the 2 criteria that we use to establish that list. I will add that there are pavement improvement projects occurring in all districts. We have the residential repair projects currently active right now in all districts. We have a CDBG funded residential project that's in multiple districts. So we have multiple districts as part of the pavement repair project, but the direction to me at least, from the last meeting was to utilize the fiscal year 18-19 approved list. So that's why those 2 segments are on there.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I also have a copy of all that from years past. And there was a lot of pavement that could have been reevaluated for proper use, not just go with the 18-19 approved list, which is just fairly current. So I'm just concerned that the rest of the district's areas, 51 square miles of our city, may not be getting what they should be getting. And that's a lot of money to appropriate and put back in the same areas. It's my concern, and I'm real concerned about it.
Madam Clerk, any public comments?
Yes, sir. Rachel Sterling and Rafael Burgueras.
Good evening, Rachel Sterling. First, I would like to correct Ms. Baca. I was invited to this meeting by Jason Hunter and Vivian Moreno, and here's the text from them. Also, when you accuse somebody of disruption of a public meeting or the intent to come to disrupt a public meeting, which is a criminal offense, that is defamation per se, which can subject you to personal liability, Ms. Baca. So please be careful. I'm really intelligent, as if you hadn't noticed. I know my stuff. What I really know well, because I was the public works attorney for 12 years, and I think your city manager actually referred to me as like a public works guru, if I remember correctly, because I used to work on all the public work projects. So I'm extremely familiar with the Public Contracts Code. And this is a huge change order. And this violates public bidding laws. But I would really love to hear your city attorney's opinion on this, because I've been taping him and I want to get his response on tape, because I think that his response to the sign, the previous sign, was quite interesting. I don't think I've ever in my history of doing municipal law ever seen a sign posted before it was approved by council. And I'm sure at the League of California Cities, the city attorney conference, a lot of people get a kick out of this when I show it to them. Aren't you the president of that or something? Anyway, so I'll be showing that at the League of California Cities. But I would like to get his opinion on how this complies with the Public Contract Code, a change order of this size with an appropriation of only 1.1 million, but a change order for, was it 667,000, something to that effect. So, Mr. City Attorney, if you could please enlighten me with your brilliant legal opinion. Thank you.
Next speaker is Rafael Burgueras.
Good evening again, Mayor, council members, staff, and residents, and our guests. We have a guest. To your concerns, Mr. Geiber, District 2 and District 3 have very good paving, because I drive all over them when I do campaigns. I've done 500 miles in 2 weeks. So please don't talk about District 3 or District 2, because you're not telling the truth. The staff picked the worst streets in the city of Moreno Valley. This is not about districts. This is about Moreno Valley.
All right, back there,
the
please.
Worst.
Please let him
the
finish.
Worst. Okay? So don't do your campaign stuff off the dais. That's not proper of you doing that. Okay? There's a lot of worse streets. District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4. It's all Moreno Valley. I've seen it all. I seen it all. I put up signs. They're all my signs out there. And I see the whole street. I see potholes. I see where the worst of the worst. And I see people take them down too. So they don't recognize the mayor for his reelection. I see evil out there. And you're talking about your little district that you threw under the bus so many times? Your district too. That's why you can't run again. And you're trying to run for mayor. My goodness. You don't hear yourself? You need to hear yourself. Don't be the mayor of this city, because you'll set us back. This is why I support Dr. Gutierrez, Ulysses Cabrera, and Leroy Holt to move the city forward. I see it all out there. Believe me, I do hours every day
Just keep
to
it to
save their
G1.
signs.
Keep it to G1.
Okay? That's what I do. I see paving every day. Every day I see paving. I see people working on paving every day. They're doing their very best to fix this city. So don't do that. Don't use District 2 or District 3 or District 4 or 1. It's all Moreno Valley.
All right. Thank you, Rafael. Madam Clerk, those were it, right? Okay, so we'll do council deliberation. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you. And at our actually our last meeting before we went into recess is when we voted on the original item, and the construction is going on right now, and a lot of people aren't happy about that, even though it's not as much as we would like, because road repairs are very, very expensive. We're still doing something, and people are very happy. I mean, we're taking action. And I also want to add, I mean, I know I hear actually up here on the dais some complaining regarding districts. I mean, that's irrelevant. Politics is irrelevant in this matter. And kind of like Michael Wolf, you shared that we go based off of CPI, also the traffic count, and we approved that list for this fiscal year months ago, a long time ago. And so it's not like we're moving around and picking what streets we want. This was already in place a long time ago, and we're just going in order. What we did was simply allocate money now so that we save money down the road, and we're getting a head start on that list. We didn't move any streets around, change the order, or anything. And like I said, I hear a lot of complaining up here on the dais, but I don't hear any requests. You can always ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cabrera. Any other deliberation? Okay, seeing that there's none, I'll go ahead and close the deliberation and entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations 1 through 4. Motioned by Councilor Cabrera. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Okay, please vote. And it's approved 3 yes for more money for the roads and 1 no. We'll move to item G2, the Civic Center Amphitheater and Park Project Funding Plan and Budget Appropriation Report of Parks and Community Services. All right, Patty Solano.
Thank you again, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members. Item G2 proposes the development of Civic Center, Amphitheater, and Park. For over 2 decades, the city of Moreno Valley has actually been considering the community benefits of a venue that can accommodate the expansion of arts, culture, and music opportunities for residents as our city grows. Back in 1994, soon after the city purchased the 25.2-acre land that the Civic Center complex now sits on, consultants were hired to develop a conceptual master plan to identify future uses for the property. Input and suggested uses of the property were solicited from city council and city staff. And one of the suggested uses was identified as an amphitheater, and that was included in the master plan. The Civic Center master plan was then subject to 2 city council study sessions in 1994, and in 1995 was brought before the Planning Commission for discussion. That same year, on July 11th, the city council voted to approve the concepts included in that Civic Center master plan. So more recently, through the development of Momentum Moval, the city's strategic plan, members of the public were surveyed about proposed priorities that the council could focus on. And some of those priorities from the public were a distinctive plaza and or a downtown area that could house music and arts as a top priority for them. The proposed venue actually creates this distinct area. The Civic Center Amphitheater and Park, as proposed, would lie behind the Conference and Rec Center, as seen up on your screen, on the vacant lot in the southeast corner of Veterans Way and Alessandro Boulevard. The project will consist of a 7-acre park, a 500 to 600 seat amphitheater with arched seating with concrete and grass, potentially seating, alternating of each, a raised stage, a restroom facility, and parking for up to 360 vehicles. When the proposed project would be completed, it would be a perfect venue to house the projects that we currently hold in the lawn area behind the CRC. Events such as the annual tree lighting, snow day, Moval Movies, Moval Rocks, Day of the Dead. But also it's going to give us the opportunity to add more events. We can do arts walks, festivals, graduations, partners with the school districts, other organizations, and rent the facility out so outside entities can come into our city, bring more activities and events, concerts and such. one of the things here that is actually really important out of this whole plan is the parking. Because not only will it be ample for the amphitheater, for all the events that we have there, but it's going to supply the long-awaited permanent parking for the Conference and Recreation Center. Currently, when we have large events such as banquets, meetings, and such, that area right there serves as overflow, and it's an unpaved area where our guests have to park and then walk up to the CRC. As you can tell in the diagram, there's actually a walkway that would connect the parking lot from behind the amphitheater, and it will connect with the existing walkway that ends into the grass area, and then will lead our guests right into the back of the Conference and Rec Center. Additionally, though, the parking can also hold more events. We can have a food truck fest there, we can have a car show, we can have an arts walk, any other things we can think of. We'll now have enough room to do that here at the Civic Center Plaza. The total cost for the proposed project is just over $4.9 million, and it would not draw from the general fund. The proposed funding sources are Parks and Community Services, capital funds, and developer impact fees that are restricted for this type of community project. The Civic Center Amphitheater and Park actually ties into Momentum Moval and some of its priorities such as beautification, youth programs, quality of life, and infrastructure. It's also going to bring youth programs and provide another opportunity to accommodate the increase in programs. More and more is happening in the city, and we need more venues to be able to accommodate that growth and really become that city of arts and culture. It'll be a hub for the diverse population to come together and enjoy community concerts in an additional green space with environmentally sensitive landscaping and an architecture that we hope would mirror the whole Civic Center complex and the facilities and landscaping that's already here. It's a year-round event, which is wonderful. We can do things outside 12 months out of the year, and it will also help boost the commitment that the council already has to tourism and economic development in the city. The recommendation is to approve the city's Civic Center Amphitheater and Park project and add the project to the city's capital improvement plan, and approve the proposed funding plan and budget amendment as contained in the fiscal impact section of the report. This concludes my report, and I'm glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Patty. Okay. Councilmember Gaiba, council questions?
Thank you. Marshall, did this proposal for acquisition of $4.9 million come before the Finance Subcommittee at all?
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, the recommended appropriation change comes before the city council as a whole this evening for your discussion, deliberation in public.
You didn't answer my question, Marshall.
Councilman,
Did it
it's
ever
coming
come
here
to-
this evening. It did not go to the
Go to
finance committee.
That's what I
It's
wanted you
coming
to
here
say.
this evening.
Didn't come to the,
Thank you.
don't cut me off.
Okay, it's coming, it's here tonight.
No, normally what we do is when we're making an appropriation about this much, the first line of the public's input is a Finance Subcommittee meeting. You usurped that. You didn't use it. You didn't use that
Councilman,
process.
nothing was usurped. You haven't been on the finance subcommittee in years.
2 years.
So
No,
this
less than
is
2
how-
years, but
This
the
is
first
what
2
we're
years.
doing. It's on a public agenda.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Did you not tell me in a meeting that this thing was going to cost $3 to $3.5 million?
When you and I met with the city attorney,
Yes.
I told you that I was giving you the information that I shared with the council members in March.
How many council members did you share it with?
I shared it with, in individual meetings, I briefed 4 council members.
I'm going to question that because after speaking with one council member, he
I
was
spoke
never
with him
spoken
as
to.
well. I spoke with him as well.
I don't believe that. Okay. But my question also here is, did you get direction from this council once again? We have a problem here. Just because this is spoken about in 92 or 94 or 96, and don't get me wrong, I also brought up an amphitheater when I first got elected. Mike can verify that. We were looking at locations for that. But we never directed the council to go and expend finances to get this thing going like this. It's a great sales job. This is a wonderful opportunity. I get that. But we are a representative form of government, and somehow we're not doing our representation to our residents properly as we should be doing. And that's what's concerning me about the direction this is going.
Okay, any public comments? Madam Clerk?
Rachel Sterling, Jason Hunter, Rafael Burgueras.
Rochelle?
Yes, I think it's really inappropriate for your city attorney to be laughing when a council member is speaking. That was very inappropriate and unprofessional, but not surprising at all. Again, people can see from the back, actually. Again, I just have concerns. I mean, I would love to see an amphitheater out here. I'd much rather drive out here to see concerts than drive all the way to Ontario. But this is going to have huge CEQA implications. And I didn't see that any recent environmental study was conducted. You have huge noise and sound impacts for a project of this size. And also, I do agree that the cart came before the horse here. I've never seen this sort of process in my entire career as a municipal attorney, where the city manager just kind of, basically puts these projects out there. And by the way, all this work's been done, but here you go, approve it after the fact. That is so totally inappropriate and so totally violative of process. So I've never seen it before. And for anybody who questions why I'm here, I don't care who is the mayor of this city. I don't care if it's Ms. Baca. I don't care if it's Mr. Cabrera. I don't care who it is. I don't care who's a city council member or a city attorney or a city manager. But I will tell you this much. I will make sure that they are ethical. And if they aren't, I'm going to say something about it. And I get calls from people. I got a text from somebody, and not Mr. Gaiba, has nothing to me, Mr. Gaiba, during this meeting, somebody who's watching this meeting saying they are so corrupt with like 10 O's after the so. I mean, these are people, these are residents. I mean, these are I can show you the text. And if you want to see it, I'll show it to you. So this is what people think of you. So you need to be very cautious because your actions are reaching a lot of people and their perception can be very negative. But again, I think this is a great project. But you're not following the rules. The skate park is a great project too. You got to follow the rules. The whole purpose of rules are to prevent this sort of usurpation, government corruption. I mean, that was the whole reason why many of these codes were promulgated back in the day anyway, because the mob was running half of everything. We're not here for a municipal mafia type situation. We need to follow the rules. So follow the rules. And if you have 3 votes, great, you're good to go. But if you don't follow the rules, I'm going to point it out. And again, I don't care who you are. If Mr. Gaiba doesn't follow the rules, I'm going to have his head too. So I'm an equal opportunity person. So thank you.
Next speaker is Jason Hunter, followed by Rafael Brugueras and Luis Palomares.
It's been an interesting week, Jason Hunter. So first I see a sign for a project that supposedly has never been discussed. No money's been appropriated for a project for a skate park. I also got an invitation to a groundbreaking for this civic center, for this amphitheater. So how did I get an invitation to the ground in October? If this project has already been hasn't already been discussed behind closed doors. Whether it be, serial meetings don't have to take place and the council be aware of it. Other people can violate the Brown Act. Staff can violate the Brown Act. City manager can violate the Brown Act, right? Through him committing the serial meetings. So once again, build 50 skate parks, build 20 amphitheaters. It's up to you. Those are budgetary decisions, certainly up to in the purview of the council. Staff carries out those orders. That's not the point. The point is that this is kind of becoming a dog and pony show here, these city council meetings. And this is where the business is supposed to be being conducted in a transparent and honest fashion. That's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is that these decisions are already made behind closed doors without public participation or input. Okay, or maybe certain people get to participate or make input. And then we're just trotting out kind of baloney, this dog and pony show for the public. And that's not the way the law is written in California for how decisions made with public money are supposed to be happening. And we've got a pattern here now of it. And whether I mean, I'm glad Ms. Baca spoke about it previously. Maybe you weren't aware of some of these things going on, which makes me think if the council wasn't involved in serial meetings to violate the Brown Act and the transparency laws in the state, then maybe it is the city manager's fault. Maybe he was misappropriating money on the previous agenda item. This one's a little bit different. As I said, I know, how does one get an invitation if the city, if the city isn't fairly reasonably sure to a groundbreaking that at least 3 of the votes on here tonight are going to pass this project? How does that happen? Somebody needs to explain that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do want to remind the audience that we are at a public meeting, and this is an opportunity for us to discuss this item. And we've already heard the report. We have public comments, and again, people can vote yes or people can vote no, and so it's a public meeting. All right.
Good evening once again, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, and guests. Patty said it well, the director. Why this should be approved tonight. Okay? This is something that was being promised to the people for many years. And it has been discussed for the last several years. So nothing here is secret. Now, that invitation that Mr. Hunt got to be careful with social media. They don't always tell you the whole truth. Be careful with that. People like to lie. Never tell the truth sometimes. And they want you to believe the lie before you believe the truth. So be careful with social media, how you got invited. Because it hasn't been approved. Now, there's nothing wrong with signs going up. We see signs every day. Coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. Nothing wrong with that. We have signs for roads being fixed. And they give you dates. There's a lot of things. Just like Ms. Baca mentioned earlier. If it doesn't get approved, the sign comes down. But at least people see hope that something's coming soon. But if it gets approved tonight, then it happens. This is an amphitheater that people would like to go and enjoy their evenings. They can sit down in chairs or in the grass area. And the good thing about it, when the staff picks an area for us to build things, it doesn't cost the taxpayers any money. It's city property owned. So we don't have to buy land. It's already our land. We're using our land to build things for our city. We complain here time after time, why does other city have things that we don't have? Now we're trying to have things for our city, and they complain that we're having them. It's amazing how this works when things are so simple. Nobody's stealing anything from anybody. There's no Brown Act. There's nothing. It's all a political theater because people are running. They need to stop that and leave Moreno Valley alone. We're doing very well without them. We don't cheat here. It takes votes. Okay? See the laughter? I love it too because I can laugh too. So you have something to do tonight. You can either vote no or you can vote yes for this project. This project has been waiting for a long time in this city. People are going to enjoy it. When they mention names about us, don't believe it all because it's all social media.
Thank you, Rafael. We have Roy Bleckard.
Answer me this. Where is downtown Moreno Valley? I've asked that question many times in many venues, and nobody has an answer for it. And I did attend the corridor meetings and the strategic plan hearings and a lot of them. And yeah, they did talk about an amphitheater. They talked about it in the context of a downtown area. If you put that in this area and you cap it in because there's nowhere to expand or the infrastructure and buildings in this area, there is no downtown Moreno Valley, because if you put an amphitheater here, it would not be in the context of a traditional or normal downtown as you would have in proper planning of a city. We should have a downtown area. We are a city of 200,000. We should have done it at Nason and Alessandro as in 20 years ago, but because of a goofy contract they had with the architect, that property sat for 20 years, and we wound up with this building, and you wound up with what you have. It was bad planning back then and bad decisions by council members that got us into this mess. I would hope one day, before I'm looking at the roots of the grass, that we would not do that again. I don't know if that will happen, but it's not about not wanting things or not wanting to get things done or not having a downtown or an amphitheater or skate parks or multiple parks or anything else. It's about maximizing your resources. And you know what? Every dollar that comes in here is a taxpayer dollar, because government does not make any money at all. They have to get it from either businesses or your wages. So every dollar that's spent, no matter which fund we're talking about, is taxpayer dollars. There is no free lunch, bottom line. I hope that that rhetoric will not be spread, because that puts a concept in there that somebody somewhere didn't pay for it. And that is never the case, because whether it's dollars or the sweat of their brow and off their brow in labor, somebody somewhere provided it. It might not be no cost to you, but it was somebody's effort somewhere that provided everything that you have. So when we're making these decisions and we're talking in discussions about this, this is where we should be. We should all be in the discussion. We should get all the input we should from everyone, and let's come to the best decisions. Let's not just be, oh, here it is, wham, bam, you've got it.
Thank you, Roy. Next speaker is Luis Palomares.
Luis Palomares, community activist. Wow, I think it's a great project. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to that. But we got Mr. Stickler over here wanting to dot every I. I mean, come on, give me a break. But when he wanted his storm drains, that was fine. He didn't send an all points bulletin to anybody. Nobody knew what he was doing. We found it out one day. I came here and I was saying, what? Are you serious? Privatizing our storm drains? You've been taking staff's time up for months. They sent us a $200,000 bill. His pal? That was okay though, huh? Let's be transparent. Guyva, do you remember that one? Remember that one? Remember you wanted to allocate some money over there at the Badlands? You remember that one? You didn't ask anybody about that, right? You're such a hypocrite. Hypocrite. How dare you? We want things here for the community. They pay taxes. It's been a long time coming. Where you been? Out for lunch? Somebody told me when I was supporting you way back in the day, what a fool I was to do it. I found out how you are. And told me, oh, no, not Guyva. They were in the planning commission with you. Are you serious, Guyva? You know, well, he had an agenda that we thought was going to, take the city forward. But now he's flipping and he's flopping. And he's up here lying. He's Mr. Not Transparent. I call you Jiving Guyva. You know, Jiva with Jeff, you're Jiving Guyva now. You know, and you're making all of this happen, and you've got all your cronies here, the Liars Club here for you, the terrorists, Moreno Valley, the Dirty Dozen here, speaking on your behalf. Oh, yes, they are. You can't tell me they're not. And you voted on everything. No, how many votes? 6 votes today? Wow, Guyva, where are you here? Are you on the real page? If it's not a Guyva idea, it's not a good idea. Only you alone could fix it, right, Gaiva? Right? These people have been waiting. Our community's been waiting for years. I've been here 31 years myself. Come on. When are you going to grow up? You know, the kids, oh, you're such a man of God. A man of God, lying hypocrite.
Just stick to the amphitheater.
Okay, sorry. Man of God, okay. You know, our kids to have something, an amphitheater for our kids, for our community. You know, doesn't it say, don't even touch your hair on these little ones. Don't even do it. And you dare the man upstairs, huh? Shame on you, Gaiva. Shame on you. I'm gonna campaign against you good and hard if I gotta be out there night and day, because you haven't done nothing for this city. The 4-year thing up there, Sunny Spring Ranch, you haven't done nothing. Voted against the Canyon Springs, voting against everything here tonight. God help you. I'm gonna pray for you. God help you.
All right, we'll go ahead and close public comments. Council deliberation. No, we already did questions. Okay, Councilmember Gaiba.
Thank you, appreciate that. The fact of the matter is, this project did not go through the normal course of action. I didn't say I didn't like an amphitheater. I didn't say I didn't want anything for children. I said it wasn't being done properly. Just because we talked about it in 92 and 94, and just because when they built the CRC they had these conceptual plans, doesn't mean that you just move forward and do it anyway. The whole idea of governance, legal, lawful governance, is that you're supposed to be doing the right thing for the entire public. We get no input. Finance subcommittees, nothing. Did it go to the Arts Commission? No, it did not. Did it go to the Parks Commission? No, it did not. It went no normal course in order for the input of all our residents, and you're right, over 200,000 of them. I'm quite sure had we done it the right course of action, everybody would have probably loved it. They would have probably appropriated, and we wouldn't even have this argument up here. But when you break the law, at some point, it's going to hurt a lot of people. And as far as I'm concerned, laws are being broken here because, in fact, our ordinance does, in fact, say, and I hope the attorney reads the rest of that, it actually says that no direction can be given to that city manager unless it's at an actual open meeting and voted on to do it. And that action would have been, had we done it the right way, I would like to move forward and explore this and put some money into it and get some plans out there and hold a finance subcommittee meeting. And yes, it's been 2 years since I've been on a finance subcommittee meeting, but in that time, my 2 years, I never missed a day. Never, ever missed a day. And we got a lot done, and you know that as well. So it's not about the amphitheater. It's about the process. And I'm embarrassed about the way the processes around here have been going because one gentleman back there mentioned it. How the heck do you already know you got 3 votes when 2 other council members were never discussed with this? And you know why.
Just wanted to say that, again, you know, we are at a public meeting. This is the discussion part. And it is in our momentum MOVAL and our strategic plan. The residents spoke about this about last year, actually. They were invited to public meetings, and actually Councilmember Gaiba was invited to those public meetings, and I believe he refused to go to those public meetings. So, you know, those opportunities were there. And so we have before us this amphitheater, which is something that the residents have asked for, and I think it's something that's a great thing, a positive thing for our community. And I think anyone that's just arguing against it is just, I don't know why they're doing that. I just don't understand. Councilmember Cabrera?
Thank you. Yeah, so I do also want to point out that the funding for this project is all from DIF. So all the development that's been going on in the city for a very long time, that's where all this comes from. All those fees that developers have to pay, it's all come to this. And we're actually going to have a substantial amount left over even after this project, which is amazing. And I'm really looking forward to this project. I know I've been talking about it for a long time, since before I even came on. And I mean, if you just look at the layout, it looks really, really nice. I can't wait for what it actually looks like in person, in real life, you know. And we already have so many events. Patty, you mentioned a plethora of so many different things, a lot of new things that we brought recently as well, like the food truck festivals, the art festivals. Now we're going to be able to have concerts here next to City Hall. People at the college want this, professors, music professors, art professors, the school districts. I mean, so many people are looking forward to this and are really excited about it. And if you go look at the staff report, I'm looking at the dates. That's always a question that I ask. What's the ETA? When is this going to be constructed? When is it going to be finished? And it looks like if it's approved tonight, 2020, sometime in 2020, I think early 2020, right? Okay. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. And then Roy brought up downtown Moreno Valley. And we've actually had those conversations before. And I'm an idea guy. You can ask anybody. I'm always throwing ideas out there. But so you look at this intersection right here where City Hall is. You have Frederick and Alessandro. And you have commercial retail across the street. And then you have an empty lot over here to our east. And my understanding is that this corner right here across the street from City Hall is commercial retail. So if we do this properly, moving forward, in conjunction with this amphitheater, I think we can really construct that downtown Moreno Valley. We can have an intersection where it's mixed-use development. We can have something different. It doesn't have to be the same like every other downtown. You know, we got to think outside of the box, and that's all the things that we're doing here. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm excited for it, and I know the residents are excited as well. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Okay, I'm really excited about this project because, you know, we have, for example, the Jazz Festival. It's over at Moreno Valley High School. We have other events at Morrison Park. We have Moreno Valley College. You know, we're scattered everywhere. And, you know, there's really nothing wrong with that. But I would like to see our events centered at an amphitheater so that people know where to come, especially our summer events when people come out and enjoy the movies in the park, our concerts. It's just a way to bring everyone together to a central place. I like the concept. I was here during the development of the strategic plan that was spoken about. But I know that there's innuendo and accusations, and I really want to speak out about that because there are no serial meetings. There are no Brown Act violations. I mean, I speak to the city manager on a one-to-one basis, on a weekly basis, sometimes even more. And these are the ideas that are tossed around. And we look at how can we do this? Where can we get the money? Because, I mean, there's a lot of things that I want, but the money's not there. And we need to prioritize what we're going to do, what's going to benefit more people in the community. And the amphitheater, and we already approved the skate park. These are things that the community wants. It's not what I want. I mean, I want them too, but it's not only me. It's not only one of our council members, and it's not in District 1 because I want it in District 1. It's because that's where the land is. That's where the city owns that lot. It owns that property. We don't have to go out and buy land and develop this project. So I'm all for it.
Okay. I'll close deliberation. Entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations number 1 and 2.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Cabrera, second by Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Okay. Please vote. Okay, and it's approved 3 yes, 1 no. Okay, we're going to go to item E. Okay, actually, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Welcome back to the Moreno Valley City Council meeting. We're going to move straight to public hearing items. E, questions or comments from the public on a public hearing matter are limited to 5 minutes per individual and must pertain to the subject under consideration. They will actually be 3 minutes. Those wishing to speak should complete and submit a goldenrod speaker slip to the Sergeant at Arms. We'll go ahead and start with E1, public hearing for 2 National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System mail ballot proceedings, and we'll have a report from Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask our Special District Manager, Candace Castle, to give the report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council, Candace Castle, Special Districts Division Manager. This is a public hearing to annex 2 properties into the city's MPDS program. The property owners have asked that the city apply a parcel charge onto their property tax bill so that they can meet their satisfy their condition of approval for the development of their projects. This is a normal process that's required by law, that the City Council conduct a public hearing, and then at the close of the public hearing, the City Clerk can open the ballots and announce the results. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay. We'll go ahead and have council questions of staff. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open the hearing. Any public testimony, Madam Clerk?
None.
Okay, close the hearing. And then any council deliberation? Okay, I will ask that we direct the city clerk, make a motion to direct the city clerk to open and count the return NPDS ballots. Okay, motion by Councilmember Cabrera. Need a second?
Second.
Second from Mayor Pro Tem Baca. This is so that way she can start counting it. Are you going to put it up?
Okay, sorry.
Oh, or if not, just do a voice vote. Just do a voice vote, it's fine.
All in favor?
Aye. So just give her a minute while she counts the ballots.
Howley Properties? 1 vote, yes.
Okay. Was it
And
just
the-
them?
No. And then,
Can you speak into the mic also?
I-215PL, Amazon overflow parking, yes.
All right, I entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations numbers 2 through 4.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Second by Councilmember Cabrera. Please vote. Okay, and it's approved. We'll go to item E2, proposed zone change and conditional use permit for Moreno Valley Storage, a proposed 538-unit mini storage facility with a caretaker's residence. Report of community development. Rick?
Yes, I'm happy to introduce Jeff Bradshaw, our associate planner, who will make this presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. The item presented to you this evening is 2 applications. Proposal by the developer. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. The item presented to you this evening is actually 2 applications. A request from the developer to develop a 538-unit mini storage facility on approximately 5.5 acres located near the southwest corner of John F. Kennedy Drive and Paris Boulevard. The proposal to develop that mini storage at this location would require the approval also of a zone change from neighborhood commercial to community commercial, and that would allow the use at that location subject to approval of a conditional use permit. This project was presented to the Planning Commission at a public hearing on July 26th. In response to the noticing efforts for that meeting, we did receive 2 phone calls, and I had an opportunity to speak with the property owners that live immediately to the west of the vacant property. They had questions about the design of the project, but did not express any opposition to the project. Planning Commission deliberated that night and actually voted unanimously recommending approval to the City Council for both the zone change and this project. In response to our noticing efforts for tonight's meeting, for the City Council meeting, I did receive 1 phone call, and that was from a family member whose parent owns property across the street to the north. And in that case, they just wanted to better understand what the notice was about. And again, no stated opposition to the project. Staff's recommendation to you this evening, as you noted in the staff report, would be to approve the project, to adopt and approve the mitigated negative declaration prepared for the project, as well as approve the zone change and also approve the conditional use permit. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about this project.
Thank you. Council questions of staff? So basically, it's moving it from neighborhood commercial to community commercial?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And there was no opposition? Okay.
No, there was no opposition stated to the zone change.
Any other council questions? I'm going to go ahead and open the hearing. Any public testimony, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Roy Blecker and Rafael Burgueras.
Excuse me, the applicant is also here this evening and available to speak.
Okay. Go ahead, Roy.
Yes, looks like a very good project to me. I'm glad it's going in. But one thing I wanted to bring you back to is the apartments that were passed at Edgemont and Eucalyptus. That property was approved for a mini storage site. The reason for changing it was given from changing it from a mini storage facility to apartments was there was no demand for a mini storage facilities or anything like that. Well, I read about a year ago in the Press Enterprise in the business article of how they were saying there was a big shortage of mini storage facilities, so I'm glad we're putting some more in. But the logic, the convoluted logic that I said at the time is why would you take business property that puts more into the treasury of a city than residential or apartments, which takes more in services out than it puts in tax revenue? We did the exact opposite in that. I hope this time, or we will start seeing the light in a lot of these things, that, yeah, you don't want to take, once you have business property, it's really not a good idea in most cases to turn it into residential, especially high density, lower income residential apartments. So I'm hoping this is one part where we are learning our lesson and we are doing something that will benefit all of us. And we actually do look at the market studies. And one thing I always say, let the free market work. Because if these developers that are putting this project in, I'm sure they're not coming up here looking to lose money in Moreno Valley. They've done the studies to make it work. And all of the things that went into that factors is bringing you a project like this. When we have done that, and we have done that a lot for 30 years, you wind up in the situations that we all wind up in Moreno Valley. And sometimes at some place, again, I would hope we would all look at everything as how it affects everything totally and not just one specific area. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. We have Rafael Brugueras.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, our guests. I had an opportunity to go to the Planning Commission for this project, to hear it, and to actually to be on the site where it got approved to be built on. The good thing about this particular developer, he has plenty of them. He has a success story on storage. Okay? The good thing why this project got passed or approved is that they wanted to go the extra mile. They're going to put cameras. They're going to build high walls to accommodate some of the residents, because one resident was concerned about that. Okay? The other good thing is we're finally going to get another large lot filled in with a project. I mean, there's plenty of dirt in this city that needs to be developed. Okay? Sometimes, we can build houses, apartments, or business. There's a lot of land here that needs to be developed. And we cannot be picky. when we have developers that wanted to spend their money in our city. Okay? If you look at the plans, it's a nice, well-built facility. It's in a nice location. It's off on the side. It's not going to interrupt the main boulevard at all, Paris. It's not going to bother it. It's on the side. So well-built project. I hope it gets approved tonight. So again, at one time, we didn't need mini storage, but at this time, the way the city of Moreno Valley is growing, we need extra mini storages. And with cameras, okay? Because that's important. Not only for the residents that live next door that are concerned about burglary, but people that put their properties on this or inside these storages, okay? It's a well-built project. I wish more people will come out to the Planning Commission when they have these meetings so they can see for themselves what goes on in the city. Because that's where it begins. It begins at the Planning Commission level. Then it comes to here. If it's a land change. Only if it's changing land. That's the only time you hear these projects. But if you make an effort to come to the Planning Commission, you'll see these men and women work very hard on our behalf to bring projects. Whether they're big or small, it doesn't matter to me. We're fed up of looking at only dirt. As some of these boulevards, nothing but dirt. We need to change that.
Thank you, Rafael. If we have the applicant here, if you would like to do a presentation, a brief, you don't have to, but if you would like to, you could.
Mr. Mayor, it's been brought to my attention that we do have the applicant here this evening. Their preference was to not necessarily make a presentation, but they're here and prepared to answer any questions the council may have.
Okay, just if they have a question.
With that, they believe that the staff report speaks for itself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the hearing. We'll move to council deliberation. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
Yeah, I just want to speak on this real quick. I've been looking at this project, since the planning commission level, actually a little before, when the developer was thinking about building this. And a couple questions came up, why not houses? Why not something else? Why not more restaurants? Because there's a Pollo Loco, there's a Dollar Tree, O'Reilly right there. But houses don't fit. If you look at the map, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't work there in that area. And if you're thinking about putting any kind of restaurants or other commercial retail, it really doesn't work because, again, if you're able to look at the map, it's in the staff report. It's already so blocked off from the main boulevard. And I think high residential, kind of like was already said, it would not work in that area. It's just not a good intersection. But I like the project, and then also across the street, diagonally on the other side of the intersection, there's currently another project where they're going to install electric vehicle charging stations, and they're going to, I think they're turning it into office spaces. So it's going to be really nice if we have both of those done. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other deliberation? Okay, seeing that there's none, I'll entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations numbers 1 and 3, which is the negative deck and the resolution approving the conditional use permit.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Gaiba, second from Councilmember Cabrera. Please vote for items numbers 1 and 3 recommendations. Okay, and it's approved. I entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations numbers 2 and 4. Okay, motion by Councilmember Gaiba. Second by Councilmember Cabrera. Okay, please vote on that item. Okay, and it's approved as well. Okay. We're going to go to comments on non-agenda items. Just a friendly reminder, we do have our Spanish translation services in the back. If you do need any of that assistance, we do have that here. I also want to remind everyone just to that participate to keep their comments respectful towards each other, especially if you're in the audience. Just allow the person at the podium to speak. You'll be given that opportunity to speak as well. And then finally, I ask that speakers bear in mind that comments are limited to 2 minutes for each speaker, and that you refrain from duplicating comments already made by others. But again, you can make any of the comments you want. Those wishing to speak should complete and submit a blue speaker slip to the bailiff. Okay, in order to preserve the meeting decorum, council and staff will not respond during public comments. Any council comments or questions to staff will be addressed during the council closing comments. Okay, Madam Clerk, how many speakers for non-agenda items?
13.
Okay, go ahead and start the first 3.
Rochelle Sterling, Jason Hunter, Lindsay Robinson.
So Rochelle and, okay, Jason, Lindsay, okay.
Mayor, time?
2 minutes.
Yes, I do want everybody to know that for months I have told many people that I was going to start looking at the city of Moreno Valley. I don't care about your elections. I don't care about anybody's elections. I don't vote in your elections. I only vote in the elections for the county. I care about ethics. I care about eliminating government corruption. It's always been my platform, and it always will be my platform. So I have gotten a lot of complaints about Moreno Valley. And because Riverside was closer to where I reside, that was my focus. But now I've seen a lot of cleanup in Riverside. Mr. Hunter, myself, many have been able to completely eradicate most of the corrupt players at the city of Riverside. So now we have moved to the city of Moreno Valley. But the things that have been brought to my attention are horribly alarming, and are such that they could warrant referral to the district attorney's office. Now, I have to verify some of that information, but this is my new home as far as my next target for eradicating corruption. So I will be at every council meeting, even when your election is over. I will be making numerous public records requests. And Mr. DeSantis, I better not see the tapes spliced. I better not see any obstruction. I am very familiar with the Public Records Act. I'm very familiar with all municipal laws. So I will enforce them. I have the time. I have all the time in the world. And I'm all about doing the right thing. I'm not motivated by anything other than that. So if you're unethical, I'm coming after you. That's the end of the story. Thank you.
Okay. Next 3 speakers is Jason Hunter, Lindsay Robinson, and Donovan Sadiq. Okay, Jason? No, Jason? Okay, Lindsay Robinson?
I'm here to basically notify the viewing public, get the word out about how unethical I believe our city has been behaving by personal experience, communication, and observation. Recently, I was asked by my council member to come to city council for a meeting. I got there 10 minutes early, checked in, she called upstairs and told me to sit and wait. I sat and wait. The meeting time passed. I asked what's going on. You know, it's after 1. I'm supposed to be up there. And people came to see Miss Baca and were sent up immediately. I'm still sitting there waiting. 20 minutes later, I see my council member's car is gone. And I said, what's up, you know? And she goes, she didn't know. So I called my council member, and he said they never notified him that I was there waiting. So now, along with Mr. Gaiba not getting any emails at the same time all the other city staff or city council members do, He's now not, he's being kept from his constituents that are there at his request. I find that to be very unethical and unfair, and I'm shocked at the staff that they would all go along with the directive that prevents them from interacting with a council member. Again, yes, the city manager can put things on the agenda, the mayor can put things. For 2 years, we have tried to get 6 districts back on the agenda, and it keeps getting postponed. The city manager promised me he would put it up there, and then he says he recollects a different conversation. Well, that's false. He promised he would get it on the agenda. We need 6 districts. We need good representation for everybody in the city, not just Highland Fairview. We're tired of this. There is a municipal code that is being violated, and it's been shown here, and it's sad because all of these things Mr. Marquez and Mr. Gaiba would have gone along with, but you are not following proper protocol. There are rules, there are procedures. We follow them in the commissions, we follow them in boards, we follow them with all the nonprofits. Thank you.
Okay, Donovan Sadiq, followed by Shantae Wilder Gonzalez and Roy Bleckard.
All right, it's been a while since I've been up here. I can see all this foolishness at my home. As a lot of you guys know that I send emails to you guys, and of course, Ms. Baca doesn't return my emails. Gutierrez, you've completely cut me off, and the city manager is a new one, so I have to change my email on that. But a lot of you guys have talked about how highly populated, the city manager said, highly populated with the skate park. And that's a good area to put a skate park. And again, nobody would be against these projects if it's done by procedure. And it's obvious, we're seeing there's something going on here where these things aren't being done. You put a sign up that's costing taxpayer money that says coming soon, and the project hasn't even been voted on. So there's something going on here. And I'll be making records requests as well and putting that out there. But I'm basically here about a bathroom request that I've been trying to get done for over a year. Now, Adrian Mitchell Park is one of the only parks in this city that doesn't have a bathroom. I'm getting kind of tired of seeing the people using the bathroom against the retaining wall. Can we get a porta potty? Is that too much to ask? Is that in the city budget? Since we're spending all of this money, can we at least please take, I don't know how much it costs to build a minor facility of a bathroom, and just take a little bit of that money, because Adrian Mitchell Park gets used extensively by kids practicing soccer, getting ready to go to those games on Community Park Drive and all that other stuff. If I could get a response and find my council member who could go to a NFL football thing on Thursday night, we can't find her any other place, it would be appreciated. So I want you guys to consider a bathroom at Adrian Mitchell Park, where it's a highly populated area where people use that park. Thank you.
Thank you. Shantae Wilder Gonzalez, followed by Roy Bleckard and Marina Smiley.
Hi, good evening. I'm not here to yell at anybody. This is my second city council meeting ever, and I can say that I've been here for 3 years, and I am completely embarrassed by what has gone on in this room tonight. Between, the back and forth, the name calling, the yelling, there's no decorum in this meeting. This is an opportunity for the residents to have a conversation with what's going on in our community. And it seems like there's this toxic air in the room, and I don't know why it has to be this way, but I would hope that we would be a little bit more professional, and I mean from the dais, the city, and even the residents. We need to embrace each other with a little bit of class. So I don't even know what to say. I'm that kind of befuddled when it comes to what happened tonight. And I don't even know what to say about Moreno Valley, but if this is how the city is, this is not where I really want to continue to live. Because with the level of how people are treating each other, no one's coming together to do anything to improve this city. We're sitting here insulting, yelling, and attacking people for no reason. If this is what the city's about, then we all need to take a step back and realize why we're here. Why you sit up there, why you're here, and why they're here. This should not be Moreno Valley. This isn't Moreno Valley. That's all.
Thank you. Marina Smiley, and Andrew Rodriguez.
Well, it was about 3 years ago today, and I think we spent 3 days right across the street from the CRC. A little project called the World Logistics Center got passed by the council that day. You know, time flies when you're having fun, but when you're looking at that, and that's one thing that I'd like to point out, whether you're for the project, not for the project, neutral on it, it's been 3 years and it's still tied up in the courts. You know, that's what causes the very high expense of doing any sort of development, housing costs, and everything in the state of California. It's the insane rules and regulations and absolutely stupid environmental policies. As you can see, and another one of the stupid environmental policies we have is the wildfires that have been going on this year that we've had a lot of loss of life and destructive policies. It's the eco freaks and the tree huggers that have allowed the fuel a la dead trees to lay in there, and once the fire starts, you can't stop it. It's the same thing that I've been talking about. A lot of times we don't look at what's going on or how to best maximize that. What you've seen in a lot of places, if you want something done, this council wants something done, this staff will find the money to do it because there's a lot of money sitting there in pockets all over the place. But as in one case, like I would say, it's all of our collective taxpayer money. There is no free lunch. And if we maximize those dollars, and if we would put an amphitheater and a 20,000 square foot seat stadium in a downtown area where it was proposed on the east end of town, we would be a lot better off than the piecemeal action of rinky-dink stadiums and non-centralized planning we've had.
Thank you, Roy.
I just wanted a point of order. I did put a speaker slip in on item C as in Cat 1. I don't believe I was called on that item.
On C item?
Yeah, C1.
Was it in the
That was the Day and Alessandro agreement for doing the apartments.
You want to speak to it right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
The comments I would have made if it got passed on the consent calendar, I don't know if it was passed on the regular one. But as item A10, we had the what's called or was known as Browns Hill on Alessandro and LaSalle. When that project came up, and I re-forwarded the email to all the council persons today on that, my recommendation at the time was this project doesn't sound right and it's not going to go. I think we just found out why today. It just gives me a little pause for concern that we would use the same developer in another project without it being really vetted on why we're doing something like that. Because in a lot of these cases, and I reiterated before, government makes housing more expensive, less affordable. And if we still keep getting stuck in this cycle, we will still have, as the state of California is right now, heading over $700,000 per single family home, average price. People are living. The biggest expansion of homeless people right now are those that have an income but can't afford to rent or buy a home or afford the high electricity prices and on and on. So when we're looking at these things, sometimes we might need to step back and examine exactly what we're voting on and what we're looking at and what the long-term impact that is going to have on the residents. Because far too long, we have Irvine envy. Look at how that city is planned. It's planned around shopping centers and industrial and a hub where everything works. One day, we had the opportunity to do that east of LaSalle Street. I see it slipping away.
Okay. Thank you. We'll resume back to public comments on non-agenda items. We have Marina Smiley, Andrew Rodriguez, and Jennifer Dean. Good evening.
Before I came here, I went to your website and I saw that I have 3 minutes. That's why I wrote the speech. It will be much easier for me so I don't forget anything. Would you allow me to read it for 3 minutes?
It's your time is going, but if you want, you can always give us a copy of it too, as well.
Okay, let other people talk and then maybe I will be shorter because,
Okay.
you know, guys, it was very difficult for me to come here. I'm a full-time caregiver for my very ill mother. I'm a full-time caregiver for my husband. I work 15 hours a day. It was extremely difficult to come here to represent my neighborhood. So, again, I ask you, would you let me to read it for 3 minutes? I ask only for 3 minutes from you. Is it possible?
We gave everybody 2 minutes. Okay.
What do you think? Can I read it for 3 minutes?
Okay, ma'am, you're out of order, please. Please continue. We're giving you the time right now.
I don't have time now already.
Okay, well, I'm giving you the time right now.
Okay, thank you. I know I have limited time, but I would like to tell you a short story anyway. There was a volcano eruption on Hawaii a few months ago. When I saw news on TV about ash and toxic gas, I immediately called to my Hawaii friends. Thank God they were not affected, because they live on the opposite side of the island. You see, the farther you live from the pollution source, the more safe you are. On one side of the island, people were evacuating, fighting for their life and life of their children, and on another part of the island, people continue to enjoy life. So what is my point? The point is that there are houses on the east side of Moreno Valley located along the Cactus Road extension.
Ms. Smiley?
Yes.
Could you give us a copy of that, or can you email it to us, and then that way we can
I would
look
like
into
to
it?
read it. I prepared it. It's only 3 minutes.
I know, but ma'am, we have a procedure, and I've already given everybody the 2 minutes, and that's how the procedure is. So if you like, you can email it to us or give us the copy to our city clerk.
I would
and I'll
like
be more
people
than happy
hear
to
it.
help you.
Why you close my mouth?
Okay. Ma'am? Thank you. Again, you can always turn that copy, and you can always email it to us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. All right, next speaker that we have is Andrew Rodriguez, Jennifer Dean, and Sandra Murphy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council staff. This has been an eye-awakening for me. I used to sit on that side of the table. But anyway, tonight I'm sitting here, I want to talk about political signs on city right-of-ways. During the time that I was the director and building official for the city of Moreno Valley, we came up with ordinances about political signs and the placing thereof. Unfortunately, that has not been followed. City ordinances, I believe, have been neglected or not looked at by any staff member. They have been, when we first came into the city of Moreno Valley Incorporated, there were real estate signs, there were political signs, every sign you can imagine. Our city manager at that time, Mr. Dave Dixon, ordered everybody to go through the entire city and pick out anything that was on the right-of-ways. Now, by right-of-ways, I mean anything from face of curb back 12 feet is a city right-of-way. Mr. Mayor, you have quite a few signs on city right-of-ways, and so do and other people running for city council. I would like to say that I'd like to see this cleaned up. We just had an election in June. The city looked like trash. There was political signs all over the place. What is our code enforcement officers doing? Nothing that I can see. Please, somebody take care of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. And I'll ask our city attorney if you could respond. Just give a brief response of what the ordinance says and as far as what we can do and what we can't do?
With regard to controlling political signs and any signage, obviously any control that we exercise has to be content neutral. So whether it's election signs or any other signs, removal of them based on their content, obviously, or limitation of them based on content would not be permitted. If signs are in the right-of-way and they create a visual hazard or other public safety issue, obviously those will be removed. And that is the direction, and that's the manner in which our sign ordinance with regard to those types of signs has been enforced and consistent with the council's direction.
Thanks. And I think I also heard of the storm drains as well. Like if they're on storm drains, they're not supposed to. And but so maybe the city clerk's office can send a reminder to whoever's installing them, to the candidates, and then they can tell the people of whoever's installing them. Okay. All right. We have, but thanks for coming and letting us know. Jennifer Dean, Sandra Murphy, and Santiago Hernandez.
Good evening, City Council and members and citizens who are present this evening. From the bottom of my heart, it is a true pleasure to be here this evening. I represent Pacific View Charter School. I'm the site supervisor and principal at that location. And my goal of this evening, hopefully, is to provide a little bit of light, a little bit of sunshine this evening on behalf of education and the value of education in the city of Moreno Valley. As a servant leader, it is my mission to share with you this evening the 3 programs that I have the privilege and great responsibility of overseeing. In Moreno Valley, I'm located 0.2 miles from this location right here. I oversee our K-8 home study program, where our real thing is providing parents an option, providing them a choice in how they educate our children. We do have Calvert Education online curriculum. So this really enables families to utilize online curriculum, but we're also looking at career and college readiness and having the online curriculum experience. The second thing that we have is we have our Learning Center for 7th and 8th grade. Families are being drawn to us currently because, again, parents are looking for a choice, as we all are, wanting the best for our children. That makes a huge impact decades from now, the seeds we plant today. In our Learning Center, I have some outstanding teachers that are building those relationships with those parents. We're really taking the time to listen and valuing the families that we interact with. In addition, we do follow Common Core curriculum. Finally, our third program is our high school independent study program that I want to share with you. It's a great opportunity for students here in Moreno Valley and surrounding areas. We do enroll in Riverside County and surrounding counties. In our independent study program, I'm happy to report we're having great success with connecting with students. We've all felt hopeless at some point in time in our life. And the spark is finding that hope again and educating our students. And so I just have some handouts at the back table for you, and I would love to talk with you further.
Yeah, great.
Thank you so much.
We'll set up a time.
Perfect.
Definitely,
Thank you so much.
Do you want to hand those to the bailiff and then?
Yeah, and I have some extra handouts on the back table for your convenience.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we have Sandra Murphy, Santiago Hernandez, followed by Rafael Brugueras.
I need an interpreter, okay?
Oh, okay. Can we get the interpreter back there?
Yeah.
So just so everyone knows, it's actually state law that anytime when we have to do translation or actually interpreting, it's double the amount of minutes. So it's actually state law. Okay.
Muy buenas noches a todos ustedes. Es un placer verlos a ustedes y decirles gracias por el trabajo que han estado haciendo. A ustedes también. Es el tiempo de una nueva campaña.
It's a time of a new campaign.
Ok. Ok. Muchas cosas han pasado en esta ciudad.
A lot of things have happened in the city.
Progreso,
Progress.
tiene que haber cambio.
There has to be new change.
Cambios
Changes
no le gusta al ser humano.
are not welcome by the humans.
Pero si nosotros queremos ayudar
But
a la próxima generación,
But if we want to help the new generation,
nosotros tenemos que aceptar cambios,
we have to accept change,
traer ideas,
bring ideas,
proyectos
projects
que van a levantar a esa ciudad.
to pick up the city.
El progreso de
Progress.
una ciudad es el futuro de los demás, de los nuevos
The progress of a city is the future of the ones that are coming up
y de los que ya estamos grandes en edad.
and also of the one for us that are a little bit more mature.
It gives us an idea de que los cambios tenemos que apoyarlos,
The changes we have to support them.
porque si no apoyamos a la juventud,
If we don't support our youth,
¿cómo podemos nosotros continuar viviendo y mirando a la cara
how can we continue to live and look at their faces
y decir, no tuve el coraje para apoyarte y para decirte que tú vales la pena?
and how can I not have the tell somebody that I didn't have the courage to tell you and to support you?
Yo ya voy de salida,
Me, I'm on my way out.
pero la nueva generación
But the
está
new-
aquí tocándonos la puerta.
But the new generation is here knocking at our door.
Ustedes que están enfrente de mí tienen en sus manos
It's in your hands
para hacer ese cambio.
to make the change.
No se dejen de caer por unos cuantos.
Do not dismay because of a few.
Miren a la cara, a los ojos
Look at the face, look at the eyes
de la nueva generación
of the new generation
que necesita
that needs
que nosotros hagamos planes
for us
Proyectos.
to make plans and make projects
para beneficiarlos.
to benefit them.
No seamos egoístas
Let's not be selfish
y continuamos en el camino
and to continue on the road
de beneficiar a los demás.
to benefit the rest.
No podemos vivir en la vida mirándonos a nosotros nada más.
We cannot live life and just look at ourselves.
Dejen de mirarse su cara,
Stop looking at your faces
miren la cara de otros
and look at the faces of others.
y no se opongan a lo que debe de ser.
And do not oppose other things that need to happen.
Es hacer el bien,
Is to do the good and to do the good.
no importa a quién sea.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Nosotros no estamos aquí para juzgar,
We're not here to judge.
nosotros estamos aquí para trabajar juntos.
We're here to work
Gracias.
together. Thank you. Gracias, Sandra, por las palabras. Thank you, Sandra, for those kind words. Okay, we'll go to Santiago Hernandez, Rafael Brugueras, and then and Frank Wright. Okay, we have Santiago. I thought I saw him today. Oh, he's okay. We have Rafael Brugueras here tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, and I guess our guests left. That's a good thing. To the men and women in the city of Moreno Valley, I am responsible for the many, many signs that I have put up. I take responsibility wherever I put them. And I believe where I have put them are in the proper place where they don't disrupt traffic. I do my very best to make sure that your safety comes first. But I am not going to stop supporting my candidates with their signs. That is the first process that begins. The name recognition of the men and women that are running. That's what I do. That is democracy. I have the right to put up those signs as long as I'm not disrupting anything. So I am responsible. And my name is Rafael Brugueras. So if you have something to say, come to the meeting, say it to me, and I look at the sign. If it's in the way, I'll move it. Because I am responsible for what I do. And I don't hide. And I do this during the day. I don't hide at night. I do everything during the day so you can see who I am when I put them up. Now, to the good things in Moreno Valley. We're building. You know, I've been driving around for the last several days, making sure they don't cut down my signs, and they have. You know, they're doing a terrible job of killing the First Amendment and not allowing people to see who's running because they're afraid that we have winners. But you know what? There's neighborhoods that are going up with new houses, new roads. I mean, there's a great job that's being done on Hecot, heading towards Ramona. People got to drive around. You got to drive around to see Moreno Valley. Our staff works very hard on our behalf to bring things here. And we, the resident, have the right to fight for those things to stay in our city. And that's what I do. And I take full responsibility. So let me know if I did something wrong. I'll come and fix it.
Thank you, Rafael. Next speakers is we have Frank Wright.
Honorable Mayor, council members, and
Good
staff.
evening, Frank.
Subjects
One
about
second,
the
Frank. Let's just fix that really quick. Sorry. She's going to fix it. Okay, go ahead.
subjects about the reports going on tonight. I appreciate the lady that stood up before says we really need class in here when we communicate, and she was right. Concerning from a lawyer's level, if a person comes in here and claims they're a lawyer does not claim himself he's the best in the West. A lawyer does not downgrade other people. A lawyer doesn't threaten the council meetings. A lawyer doesn't say she's going to sit there and watch everything goes wrong in our city. That type of attitude is downright wrong. And what it is, it's not intelligent, but it's the height of ignorance, and that's a fact. So we're here to help our staff, our congressmen, our people. Every city has their problems. Every council has their problems. You can't deny that. But we're here to help the people to get together and not downgrade. So we don't need people like that come in here and downgrade us like this one lawyer claimed that she did. I heard she was trying to get a job here some time ago. She got kicked out because she came in with floppies, all right? Now that's figure of speech, but that's what heard. But the idea is we're standing here to help. You're the best. That's why you're in here, to put on. I've got something else I could say, but I can't do it tonight. But nonetheless, we've got to support ourselves and not put up with the derogatory rapport that we have heard from tonight by someone who claims they're a high-class level. And I appreciate that you people have not downgraded your minds to that level. Thank you, and God bless you all. And you too.
Thank you so much, Frank, for those kind words. Really appreciate it. Next speaker we have is Luis Palomares. Thank you, Frank.
I couldn't have said it any better, Frank. Community activist Luis Palomares. Yeah, this lady comes in here, Sterling, right? She's from Riverside. Probably ran her out of there. And she's here on Gaiba's behalf, and we know that. And you could clean it up after I'm done, Gaiba. You're real good at that. Anyway, maybe the people out there in TV land believe you, but the people in the room here know better. Okay, and she's talking about how smart she is. She almost sounded like Trump to me. I'm smart, I'm this, I'm that, I know it all. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Go to your own city and do it. You know, there's plenty of things to do in the city over there. I asked her, oh, wow, gee, you got enough problems in your own city. Why are you coming over here making problems in ours? Oh, they're all fixed. I go, well, the homeless is over there that need fixed. In every single city, there's a lot of homeless that needs fixing. Help. Go out there and help them. Oh, but she's already done that, I guess. She fixed that one. You know, Okay, that's that. Mrs. Smart Lawyer. Wow. Yeah, I think she did come over here with flip-flops and a tank top to apply for a job. Are you serious? Are you serious? Wow. Okay, saying that, Gaiva, again, I'll say it again. You got the terrorist group here today. You got the Liars Club here today. You know, they're stating facts that ain't true. So are you up there stating facts. We could roll back the film. That ain't true. You know, and you're such a stickler for, oh, this and oh, that. But like I said, when you wanted to do the Badland thing, that was okay. You didn't send out all points or bulletin or this or that or this. The same thing with your storm drain idea. How much did it cost? Over $200,000. You have the staff pulling out their hair because that was a Gaiva idea. And nobody didn't know till the 11th hour. I was on the way to the school board and I got wind of it and I said, oh, hell no. And that day I told you, you've lost your mind, Gaiva. And that's the day I said, hell no, not no more. Not no more supporting Gaiva on any,
Thank you, Louise.
anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the public comments on non-agenda items. We're going to go to reports. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Baca, March Joint Powers Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Okay, for the Joint Powers, as I'm sure many of you read in the press enterprise, the commission approved a sublease of the existing DHL facility for air cargo operations by Amazon's Prime Air, as well as operating contracts with 3 Amazon air cargo carriers for up to 5 flights per day and no night flights. We're very excited that these actions will create up to 525 new jobs. That concludes my JPA report.
And then the Riverside County Transportation Commission, Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Okay. RCTC celebrated the 25th anniversary for providing Freeway Service Patrol, also known as FSP, in Riverside County. FSP is a roving team of tow trucks traveling selected Riverside County freeways to provide aid to motorists with car trouble. The operators can assist with flat tires, dead batteries, and vehicles that run out of gas. Please visit the RCTC website for additional information on the FSP's services, operating location, and hours. And hopefully no one needs to use them because I know it's terrible to break down on the freeway. That concludes my report on RCTC.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Why don't you go ahead and do the School District City Joint Task Force since you're already giving the reports?
Okay. And this meeting takes place in the middle of the day, and we do provide lunch to all the agencies that join us. And it's just wonderful to have all these agencies come together and we share our information so that we're not duplicating services and we know what everyone else is doing. And today's meeting was very well attended. I don't think anyone was missing today. The Joint Task Force met earlier today. In addition to the city reps, we had representatives from Lake Paris, the state recreation area, Moreno Valley Unified School District, the Valverde Unified School District were also at the meeting. Lake Paris reported that they are expecting 10,000 to 13,000 people for the upcoming holiday weekend. In addition, their concert series will be held on the following weekends, September 22nd and 23rd, and they're expecting a crowd of 2,000 people. October 11th through the 14th, and they're expecting about 7,000. And November 1st through the 4th, they're expecting about 4,000 guests. The Valverde Unified School District has developed the Valverde Educational Foundation, where they'll be raising funds to provide scholarships. Their goal is to promote academic excellence, champion innovation in teaching, and provide sustained financial support for student scholarships. It actively seeks donations from the entire Valverde community, families, staff, businesses, and community organizations, and this includes the southern part of Moreno Valley. The California Community College Chancellor's Office announced the expansion of the Next Up program to 15 additional community colleges, including the 3 Riverside Community College District colleges of Norco, Moreno Valley, and Riverside. Next up, known as Cooperating Agencies Foster Youth Educational Support, gives current and former California foster youth extra support when pursuing their higher education goals at the community college. And this is a fantastic program for kids that have been in the foster system for years. Canyon Springs High School and the Moreno Valley Unified School District are starting their first football season at the new Canyon High School Athletic Complex with a day of events leading into the special Saturday evening game against the inner city rival Moreno Valley High School. The game on Saturday, August 25th, which is this coming Saturday, will kick off at 7 p.m. In addition to the game, the school will host junior level community football games beginning at 2 p.m., a carnival from 3 to 6, and a special opening ceremony including former athletes at 6:15 p.m. Fans are invited to stay after the game for a fireworks show and presentations of the Butterfield Cup trophy to the winning team. School board member C.J. Johnson is requesting your presence. Please be there and get there early because parking is going to be, pretty tight. Moreno Valley Unified School District is looking for community members to participate in the school district walkthrough on September 5th. Contact the district to sign up. And that concludes our event.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Mine's not that exciting, but mine is the Western Riverside Council of Governments. It's a very brief report, but on August 6, 2018, WRCOG, they anticipate annual jurisdictional, so this is what they discussed, jurisdictional meetings on TUMF program fee collections disbursements to occur from August to about October, with final reports issued in December. Also, they also covered the item of Moreno Valley approved an amendment to purchase SCE-owned streetlights, which we did in September 19, 2017, with full approval granted on June 19, 2018. And then they also mentioned that 11 other jurisdictions all have now approved agreements. The 5th annual LED Holiday Light Exchange and Energy Efficiently Kit giveaway will provide residents with new LED lights and energy efficiency kits in late 2018. The 4-year program to date has allowed area-wide public exchange of over 2,300 holiday lights and the distribution of 150 energy efficiency starter kits. Okay, that concludes my report for the WRCOG. Okay, we'll go straight to City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. I've got two parts of my report tonight. First, I want to touch on a few things from this evening. I have had the honor of serving in local government for nearly 30 years, and I know that election seasons can sometimes alter meeting dynamics, sometimes not in a positive manner. How's that for the understatement of the night? But while it's unfortunate that several Riverside residents came here tonight to rail against wonderful projects for our community, I'm delighted and deeply appreciative to the majority of the council for approving these projects and moving them forward to benefit the residents of our community. I normally ignore outlandish comments, but I am compelled to address a few statements that were completely inaccurate that were made here tonight. First, I have confirmed with our Chief Financial Officer that CIP project budgets do not come to the Finance Subcommittee, period. Secondly, a resident here tonight, not a resident, a Riverside resident indicated that somehow he had received an invitation to a groundbreaking. Well, at first I was hurt because I didn't get one. And then I looked, none of my colleagues did, and I know you hadn't either. So I just, for the record, I want to state that council members' calendars we placed a tentative calendar hold for an amphitheater dedication, a groundbreaking event, because we know how busy all of the council members are, so we placed a hold on your calendar. No invitations were sent, not to you, not to us, not to Moreno Valley residents, certainly not to a Riverside resident. All actions taken in preparation for the items that appeared on your agenda tonight were fully within the appropriation authority statutorily granted to the city manager. I wouldn't have it any other way. And the last bit on this section of my report is I just want to say very proudly that this staff is here to deliver progress for the City Council and the residents of our community. If someone doesn't like our approach, I fully respect their right to have that opinion. But that does not justify baseless accusations of impropriety. I will not let that stand unanswered. Now on to the part of my report that I was really looking forward to this evening. As the council and our own residents saw tonight, it's been a very busy summer here at City Hall. While the council meetings were paused during the customary recess period, this allowed most of our council members to spend a great deal of time here at City Hall, meeting with residents and with staff to address topics of community interest. On behalf of the staff, I want to let you know we really appreciated the opportunities to assist in addressing quality of life issues during our interactions with you. Tonight's agenda follows many weeks of work by staff in multiple departments and allowed the council to consider very significant proposals to invest in our community's bright future. I'd like to thank our talented city team at all levels for their work in preparation for tonight's meeting. I know that I speak for all of our staff when I tell you that we are anxious to move forward on these key projects beginning tomorrow morning. The city team has also been hard at work to ensure that residents of all ages enjoyed activities, the kinds of activities that make Moreno Valley summers so very special. From our annual signature events on July 4th, to our first ever food truck festival, to movies and concerts, to cooling centers to aid those most vulnerable to triple-digit temperatures, to the largest national night out ever assembled by our public safety team. It has been a wonderful summer in our community. And I'd like to conclude my comments tonight by sharing a very powerful image that I know will touch all of us. As we know, California is experiencing a very active fire season, with fires burning across the state and right here in our own area. The men and women of the Moreno Valley Fire Department have been on the front lines of massive fires across the state. The image on the screen that you see, which we're told has gone viral across the internet, shows a firefighter comforting a resident as flames are halted right at the edge of his property. The photo captures the strength of this moment and a firefighter's compassion during what must have been one of the most frightening moments of a resident's life. We are proud to say that this firefighter is one of Moreno Valley's finest, Patrick Odell of Sunnymead Station 2. I'd like to thank you, Patrick, on behalf of the city, for making a difference for a resident in his time of need and for representing all that's great about the city of Moreno Valley. That concludes my report.
Thank you, City Manager, for that report. Thank you. Positive report. City Attorney's report.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Again, I will echo the comments made by the city manager. I generally attempt to ignore statements that are just so off the scale. But again, I am also compelled to address some of the things. And let's just go with facts. As city manager already mentioned, CIP projects don't go to finance sub. Secondly, there was an accusation that we went around CEQA in some fashion. If somebody read the staff report, there's a $100,000 item, budget item for CEQA evaluation, for environmental evaluation, which will happen subject to approval of the council, and council obviously approved the project, so CEQA will be complied with. City manager spending authority, $75,000. City manager can spend $75,000 without coming to you and asking you for anything. Brown Act clearly allows staff, city manager, myself, any staff to communicate with each one of you individually. And obviously we do. And that's part of the process. That's normal operation of the city. So long as we don't poll your votes, we don't tell you what the other one said, no Brown Act violation occurs. We've heard corruption over and over and over again. dishonest or fraudulent conduct by those in power, typically involving bribery. That's the definition of corruption. Nothing like that, obviously, has occurred. Nothing that was presented even by the people who were against these projects approached any of that. At best, there were accusations of violation of Brown Act, or usurping city manager's power, usurping city funds. Again, city manager can spend $75,000 without having to ask you for anything. Councilmember Gaiba, thank you for bringing me to the code. Powers and duties of the city manager. City manager shall be the administrative head of the government of the city under direction and control of the city council, except as otherwise provided in this chapter. City manager shall be responsible for the efficient administration of all affairs of the city which are under his or her control, in addition to his and her general powers as administrative head, and not as a limitation thereon, he or she shall be expected to and shall have the power to subsection F, recommend to the city council for adoption such measures and ordinances as he or she deems necessary. Subsection L, exercise general supervision over all public buildings, public parks, and other public properties which are under the control and jurisdiction of the city council. No corruption, no Brown Act violations occurred, normal function of the city. City manager moved forward with preparing a presentation, two presentations to you on two subjects that were near and dear to both the council, the community, and obviously the staff. So everything you've heard here today, all the accusations, there's just simply no basis for these. What has occurred is a normal function of the city. Staff presented you with two excellent projects for your consideration. You could have done anything with those projects tonight. You could have altered them, you could have changed them, you could have voted against them. Any of that could have happened. And staff was prepared to deal with any of those. You decided to approve them, and they will move forward with putting that approval into effect. The fact that money was spent preparing the presentations, providing you with sketches and with elevations of the projects, that's normal course of business. That's not a violation of the Brown Act. That's not a usurpation of his powers or duties or waste of public funds. We have the authority to do that. We have the obligation to do that, and that's how we present the projects. As the city manager said, you have a very, very active and very progressive staff which keeps up with your directions. You are pushing so many projects forward, so many things that you want to see in the city, and we're keeping up with you. So thank you for that opportunity, and thank you for allowing me to address these things.
Thank you, City Attorney, for clarifying all of that. Really do appreciate that. Okay. This brings us to reports and comments from council members who did not speak earlier. You will have 5 minutes for your closing comments. Okay. Councilmember Gaiba. Councilmember, okay, no comments? Okay. Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you. So first of all, I want to welcome everyone back from recess. We weren't really gone. I mean, we were here. You know, there's always so much to do. We had all kinds of events going on for the residents. I mean, there's always something to do here. And I know staff loves it when I'm here because I'm always knocking on their door. I'm always picking up the phone. So, you know, we stay very busy. But welcome back from recess. I know class is back in session. I've talked to a few parents, you know, who let out a sigh of relief. You know, they're happy that their kids are back in school. So welcome back to school as well. I also want to share with everyone, because I just realized the other day, you know, I have the Homeless to Work flyers that Marshall and our team in the back, our media team, that they put together. You know, we have several copies of those, and I try to pass those out as much as I can. I talk to a lot of homeless folks out on Iris LaSalle area, but I realize that a lot of people still don't know that we have the program. So today I got a huge stack of those. I'm going to go around to the restaurants and businesses and just give them to them, put them on the counters, so more people are aware that we have the program. So just want to let everybody know, remind you that we do have the Homeless to Work program with the Salvation Army. And if you would like flyers or more information, you can reach out to us. We also have the resource guides as well. Those are really helpful. Also, I know that Marshall, your team is working to try to see how we can get funds from the county, or how we can work with the county to address homelessness, because we're getting some funds from the state. So that's good, because we need to keep working on the homeless issue. I also went to Rising Stars Business Academy's ribbon cutting today. They relocated over to Alessandro. The facility is really, really nice. If you get a chance to go take a look at it, I really like what they have going on, and they're helping out a lot of our youth here, a lot of at-risk youth in Moreno Valley. So that's another asset that we have there. And so tonight's meeting was pretty exciting. We have a lot of things that we approved and are moving forward. So our community is going to have a skate park now. All those kids that I've been telling, hey, we're going to have a skate park, now we're really going to have a skate park. So I know they're going to be happy to hear that. It's going to be all over social media. I can see it already. The amphitheater, that's another huge one. Downtown Moreno Valley, more events. We're going to have the space, the amenities to do all of this. It's a pretty big deal. And I'm going to keep pushing that idea of mixed use development, so we can have a town center here. I just, I have the visions in my head already, but bring in the school districts, the college, city organizations, the clergy, the businesses, everyone. Also, I wanted to thank the chief as well, and thank you for showing that picture, and that just thank you to all of our firefighters and the chief, because I know you went up north, actually. You went all the way up to North California, and you were out there fighting the fires as well. So thank you for that. Also, fixing the roads. Is the time going? I don't see a clock anywhere. I'm almost there.
Amount of time, city clerk? What's the amount?
A minute left? Okay. All right. I'm almost done. I'll take it. Also, fixing our roads. That's a huge one. I know you see the construction out there, and just give us a little bit more time. We're working on expanding that. More roads. I know a lot of our roads need attention, but we're working on it. We're investing into it, and just give us a little bit of time. But little by little, we're working our way in. Also, food pantry. I want to mention that. I've said it before here, but if you know of anyone who's in need of a food pantry, frozen meat, milk, eggs, all of that, please reach out to me. My email and phone number is on our city website, moval.org. That's the first and third Saturdays of the month. And please reach out to me if you know anyone who's in need. And lastly, I just want to, thinking about Martin Luther King and something I read in one of his books one time, but he says when it comes to evil, you're not fighting or working against evil people. You're not fighting against the person. You're fighting against the essence of evil itself. And we have to remember that. We have to keep that in mind. We're fighting against evil itself. Thank you, everyone.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca?
Well, I don't want to reiterate everything everyone said. Kudos to what's going on in the city. We have a great city. I wouldn't live anywhere else. I love Moreno Valley, and I'm going to die here. We approved the skate park and the amphitheater, and like I said, it's not one person, it's us as a council, and we're doing this as a representative council that represents the people in this great city. So I'm really excited to see that, and I look forward to this happening. As far as political signs, I've been contacted even by someone in the audience, and to me, it's a free speech issue. That's what we do. And number two is just like the speech that we hear from the podium. We don't have to like it. And our staff can be attacked, we can be attacked, they can attack just about anyone as long as it has to do with City Hall. And, they got 3 minutes, 2 minutes, sometimes a minute. And I'm all for allowing that, because I think that if we took this job, we knew what came with it. As public servants, you're sitting there, and you don't have to like it either, but, they got the right to do it. And that's my stance on that. As far as opinion, a lot of the stuff that said there is opinion. Other stuff is, outright lies. But as far as opinion, I'm going to say my opinion. I think we have the best city manager, not only in Riverside County, not only in the state of California, but in the entire nation. That's my opinion, and I stand by it. And I think that Mr. Tom DeSantis is doing an excellent job leading our city, leading our staff, and all I hear from our staff is that he's doing a good job. And most of you sitting there can, attest to me asking, hey, how's he doing, right? Especially Alan, right? That's right, yeah. And, I know that you're on a 490 schedule, or how does it go, 980?
24/7.
Yeah, 24/7, okay. But, I mean, I know you're always available 24/7, that's true. And I try not to bother after, 8 o'clock, but sometimes I need to. Same with the police chief, he's always accessible. Fire departments always keeps me apprised of what's going on. And I mean, that wasn't fair, Tom, because I'm trying to, get this out, and you put that picture there, and it brought me to tears, because I know how scary, I'm afraid of fire, but I can't imagine a home being engulfed in flames and someone standing so close. And I know that our fire department isn't just there with a water hose. I know that there's more involved in their job. And I always reply to our Chief Abdul, stay safe. Police chief, stay safe. That's, those are the words I can say, because I'm not going to tell them how to do their job. I know they're the best because they work here in Moreno Valley, the greatest city. So that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it too. I want to say thank you to our police force for a successful National Night Out that we had on August 7th. It was very, 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 very hot, but you know what? The residents came out. So maybe next year we can start a little later, because it was hot. And just thank you. Thank you for being there. Coffee with the Cops at the Paris House of Crepes. That was a huge success. Lots of people. I don't think I've seen that many people out for one of these events. So let's keep the momentum going. I think the next one is going to be at Mimi's on September 8th. So people, please bring your kids and introduce them to the police, because these are our first responders. These are our guardians, and these are the people that our kids need to respect. As far as Moreno Valley College, I mean, everyone's back to school, and they're going to have a welcome day on Saturday. And if you can be there, please be there. It's at 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's at all 3 campuses. So if you're around, please come. And the Moreno Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with the City of Moreno Valley and the Moreno Valley College, are having their second annual El Grito event, and it's always held on September the 15th. It starts at 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Please bring your lawn chair. There's going to be a lot of vendors, a lot of food, and an excellent program. You're going to have Moreno Valley Unified's best mariachi and folklorico dancers. So please come out and dress up. I mean, wear your costumes. You're welcome to that. It's a lot of fun. It's on a Saturday evening. And come early, because the parking is going to be rough. Okay, Valverde Unified School District, the student banners have been completed. So we're waiting for Moreno Valley Unified. And as you saw earlier today in the special presentations, we had a lot of trophies for the 4th of July parade and the Fun Fest. I mean, we had, 13,000 residents attending. It was great. It's a really good event. So I think I'm done. My 3 minutes are up.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for that report. There's a lot of great things that are happening in our city. We have amazing staff. I'm really happy, as the mayor, to have Mr. DeSantis, leading the staff here. He's a great manager, great supervisor to all, and he also thinks outside the box. A lot of times when we might have problems or issues, I'll bring those issues to him, and he can usually solve those issues. And so I like to say he's a professional problem solver. That's really what he is. And he does a really good job of that. I do want to share with the public that the Mayor's Institute of Design, which is funded by the U.S. Conference of Mayors, selects 8 mayors every year or per group cohort. The city of Riverside mayor was actually selected at one point, but usually they select mayors, of cities of over 200,000, and Moreno Valley was selected. So the great thing about yeah, thanks. The Mayor's Institute is that I'll be meeting with 7 other mayors, and especially designers and architects, and really to work on the vision for the town center. And so I think that's going to be a really great thing. And then from that information, bringing that information back to the council as well. Do want to mention it is part of our strategic plan. Also, the amphitheater, the skate park, and that's why we have a strategic plan. That's why I really champion that, because we want to make sure that we have a vision for our city. We know where we're going with our city. I'm really happy about the skate park. I was here that day, and I believe there was consensus from the council for, to look into it more. So I think that's a great thing. I think the kids are going to be really happy about that. Also want to invite everyone for the State of the City address that I'll be providing tomorrow morning from 11:30 in the morning to 1:30 p.m. You got to get there by 11:30. And I do want to mention that Monday, which was just yesterday, in case you don't know, Moreno Valley, this is mostly to the public, but Moreno Valley has been chosen a champion city. So there were 554 cities nationwide, Chicago, San Francisco, other cities, Riverside, was one too, that competed, with the Mayor's Challenge, and only 35 cities were selected. And Moreno Valley was one of them and was a champion city. And it was for a bold idea that we have. And the bold idea is called MoVal Learns, which is basically to provide a universal basic student income to students, so basically a stipend, and while they're going to college, so that way we can help them with the earn versus learn dilemma. Because a lot of times when our students go to school, they have to decide, well, you know what, I'm going to have to work instead of going to school, or I'm going to have to work a lot more hours, and then they'll have to reduce their course load. So we want to try to combat that earn versus learn dilemma. And so I think with the MoVal Learns, I think it's a winning concept. I want to thank the staff as well, Mike Lee, Jackie, you guys did so much work, everybody there, from your whole department. And so we submitted our application yesterday, and hopefully we can win the $5 million prize. So we did win $100,000, that's why we became a champion, so we got the Champion City designation, but hopefully we can win the $5 million challenge. And if we win that, then we can really help a lot of students. And my goal is not only to have that $5 million, but also reach out to our business community. A lot of our business community already knows about this, and they've been wanting to help even more and give more to that program. So I think it's gonna expand, and I think we got a winning concept. So we'll find out in October. Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 9:35 p.m.